So you said before that you don't see yourself as a married person. Why do you feel that way?
I ain't seen nobody that's married that was happy enough that made me want to be married. I ain't seen no couple and be like, I want that.
Okay, so you never been married and you don't see yourself getting married.
I'm gonna get married one
You
day.
will.
I am. I'm gonna
Okay.
get married. I just don't know what that looks like for me.
Do you mind me asking how old are you?
I'm 42.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't know what that look like for
I
you.
don't know what it looks like for me because I ain't never really got close to that. I ain't met nobody that I felt like I couldn't live without.
Okay.
Don't be making faces at the cameras trying to send the minions to me, Candy. I don't care what these people say. I don't give a damn what they think about me, Candy. No, I ain't married. I ain't never been married. Y'all ain't even that spectacular to be even think about being married. I done had to grind and work and get this money by myself. You think you're just about to show up and tell me what to do with it?
Okay. So what would your significant other have to have in order to make you feel like, okay, I would want to marry?
A college degree. I like smart women.
It's tons of
I need somebody who can get over here with me, who can take this to another level. But I'm saying that's the bare minimum at this point. But yeah, somebody who can get over here with my program and take it to the next level. I need some insight,
So you want somebody you working with?
a little stability,
Somebody that's got stability.
some stability. Somebody who ain't I want somebody who don't need nothing. Very self-sufficient type. You know what I mean? Somebody who can bring out the best in me.
Okay.
Yeah, make me feel special. Because I need a lot of love. I need some love, then I need some extra love. Because my mom died. So my heart's still broke. So if you can help me fix that, then you got the spot. You won.
I don't know if anybody could ever fix that.
I'm just saying, if you could step.
All right, I'm gonna stop it there, man. I know he said a couple of things. One of the things is that he doesn't seem to be in a rush to get to marriage. And then the other thing that he spoke about was he wanted an educated woman, a woman, a college woman. So I don't know if those two go hand in hand. I know Willie said that just because you went to college has nothing to do with intelligence, but he wants somebody that can help assist to add to his plate rather than take it down. Then the other thing that he mentioned as well, as far as him losing his mother, and he lost a piece when it came to his heart. So he needs a woman that's going to be able to fill in that void. This plays very critical too, because when we talk about the Megan Stallion and Klay Thompson, they mentioned that she lost both of her parents, and how can Klay do that to her and so forth. So I think it's an interesting discussion. I want to hear what you guys have to say about what Karlous Mill have to say thus far. I'll speak at once now. Go ahead, Naomi. I'll go to you since you're over that smile. Nobody likes to be first, but somebody got to kick it off.
Oh man, why it's gotta be me though? Okay. So to me, what he's saying is that he wants a woman who's not gonna be who knows responsibility when he speaks of self-sufficiency, to where he said it at the beginning. He said all this money that he's stacked and all his hard work, he don't want to get a woman who's just gonna foolishly spend it. So that's why he needs someone who's educated, who can help take him to like the next level. Does that make sense to me? And then when he was talking about his mom, I think that's I can't really speak on mother wounds when it comes to men because I'm not a man, so I don't know what that would look like, to be honest. But it is something that I've heard previously. So perhaps the other men can speak on that. And then how to navigate it from a woman and how we can help fill that gap.
I often hear that too, that a lot of women don't want a man that has mother wounds. They look at that as being a red flag that has been spoken up. But it was quite interesting that he mentioned that he wanted a college woman. I heard Trigger Mike say that too, that he wants an educated woman. A lot of men do want educated women that's just not just doing what you say, but knowing how to think outside the box, because it can play a critical role within a relationship. What are you thinking over there, Mont, about what we've been talking about so far? You're on mute, just so you know.
Can you hear me yet?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
All right, bet. I'm still actually listening. I'm still listening, trying to gather because I didn't actually see the clip. But I heard what she was just talking about. But I'm still kind of like acclimating myself to what's going on right now.
All right. If you
I
could turn your
think
mic
that
up a little bit too. You sound kind of low.
Turn it
Go
up.
ahead, Keisha. Yeah, turn it up.
I
Go
think
ahead.
that while I'm stopped in traffic, I think that basically what he's saying is he's looking for a partner. He wants somebody like she was saying. I can't see her name, but I think that he's looking for somebody who can contribute to or add to what he already has, and then multiply it. Not just somebody going who's coming to just take from him. So yeah, and until he finds that person, he's fine where he is. So obviously, because he said none of y'all are worthy of it. Basically, that's one thing he said. So obviously, the women that he's running into have not been a valued asset to what he already has or what he already brings. And then, as far as his mom, I think that yeah, the trauma thing. Everybody has some sort of trauma or may have some sort of trauma. It's just a person who kind of will help you get through the trauma. I don't see nothing wrong with helping someone get through trauma. Like everybody, like I don't want nobody. I need somebody that's healed. They need to be. We all are healing every single day. So I don't think that there's someone that's totally healed from their past. So I think that's what he's looking for. That's what he wants. So yeah, that's it.
Did anybody else gather they're looking for a partner? You think people just put too much emphasis on that word? It's not really that much of a big deal. I know that Hink doesn't like partner in particular, but does it sound like he's looking for a partner? Willie, go ahead.
It sounds like he's just looking for a woman who's worth what he's become. And I don't think that he needs a partner in the sense that women use it as, that we have equal say, but even though men has, the lion's share of the responsibility, I think he means it more so like as a teammate, somebody that knows the role she plays and is willing to fill that role in his life. And it's difficult for him to find women in the circle that he's in now because he's already established that he can feel like, you know what, you're worth me dealing with, you're worth me partnering or teaming up with, even though you weren't with me shooting in the gym.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and play a little bit more, and then
So I have a question though. What's the word? What's wrong with a partner? Because if you plan on a team, you don't think that they're partners. Like what's the significance between the two?
They're not partners; they're teammates.
Okay.
When women use partner, they use it to say that I want to have as much say as the man. It's a way they summarize being as equal, as powerful, but then they would be partners when it comes to the things that benefit them. They don't want to be partners when it's time to do the heavy shit. They don't want to be partners when it's time to do the.
Oh, that wasn't my definition.
Well, that's
why I asked.
And I wholeheartedly,
but I got you.
I wholeheartedly believe you. But in general, when women say that, that's what they mean, and that's why the men that those women want, we don't tolerate that word because you'll never in a relationship with the man you want be equal to him, but you will have an equitable position because he's going to create that space for you.
All right, let me see if I can get up there now. Oh, you're up there, all right. Yeah. So I think that was a good explanation as far as what you just said there, Willie. Some people don't look at it that way, but do you think it's important for us to make it known not to use that word, or do you think that people are just being too sensitive when it comes to it? Like, would it be better for you to ask if the word is being used? Would it be better to ask like for clarification as far as the definition on partner, and then would you be able to like accept it then? Let's just say if it was within your household.
I don't think that we should let anybody know the answers to the test that they have to take, because then they can come in and fake it. It's like if you give somebody the answers to a test, they can just study those answers, they're going to pass every time. So no, but I do think that once someone does use that, we should ask for clarification. I think a lot of men, especially, but more so, I'd say women as well, they don't leave with curiosity when they meet people, when they talk to people. They leave with their objective think, their objective focus. We try to disqualify a person from our time or from our attention or being worthy of, us teaming up with, instead of actually trying to get to know the person and leading with curiosity. We have all the questions that we want to ask that, identify what it is we're looking for, what we're not looking for. But then we also don't, when we get those answers, we don't ask like, okay, well, what makes you feel that way? Like what life experiences have you had dating or personally that made you come to the conclusion that this means that? So I think that if we led more of curiosity when we're getting to know people, I think this would probably be a lot less of a conversation that we have to have.
And just to add to that, as far as the clarification, if you do have a question, and you don't have to be 100% sure, but I think it's important for you to ask for further clarification, just so you can reassure what it is that you're thinking and if it's correct. The more data that you can collect, I think you'll be able to have a more sound discussion or have a sound idea as far as what it is that you're thinking. Always ask a question just so you can get a better understanding. All right.
JR, can you repeat that question before really answered about partnership?
It was the word partnership being used. So some people look at it. What I've noticed is that not everybody has the same definition. And Lakeisha just showed that right now on the panel that she uses the word. I have no problem using it, but it isn't to signify that she's trying to be equal to a man. I know Hank wholeheartedly hates that word. And Willie made the point that a lot of people, when we having this discussion, collectively, a lot of folks try to, when they use that word, they're going towards the more equal route. So I was just really asking, like, if it's necessary for us to take that word out, or can we just seek further clarification and get a better understanding what that person means on the individual level?
Got you. I think it's necessary that people seek understanding and see what people mean. Not even just when it comes to that word, but just in general. You know, a lot of times people don't articulate themselves very well, so they need a little bit of help trying to actually get out what they're trying to actually say. And I find that most times with that word, I think commonly most people are just avoiding saying boyfriend or girlfriend because it's a more of an immature term if they're not married. But yeah, I don't think, of course, like we know a lot of gay people use it, and you know, people of other alternative lifestyles. But I think most regular people, like when regular women are using it, they really just saying like my other half. Not that they want to be equal, they want to be the man or the leader, but they just saying my other half. Most cases, that's what I find. So.
All right, I'm gonna get True in. Go ahead, Naomi, and then I'll play a little bit with a clip and then get True and Hank in this conversation. Go ahead, Naomi.
I think this is gonna be a really, really great example adhering to the woman's mindset. So like when we're on social media and I hear women say the word partner, automatically I'm assuming, so this probably might sound bad, but when I'm having a conversation with a woman, depending on the topic, it takes me right to where she desires equality. That's like a feminist term that most women use that way, to where they're like, you know, I have just as much say majority of the time. In order to differentiate like the person and the woman who I'm speaking to, I allow her to continue to speak and listen for keywords and what she's saying as she describes, you know, the marriage either she's in or the marriage that she's seeking. And I intentionally do not ask for clarification, because if you allow a woman to speak long enough, or a man, they'll tell you exactly where they stand, where they are, and then values and perceptions, and then watch them and just listen, because depending on the time, people can they become chameleons. And so depending on the places and spaces in which you're listening, like if it's somebody who you're having a conversation with personally, that is where I would probably ask for clarification. But if it's socially, like on social media, I'll observe them in many different lives, and then I'll begin to learn how they're using that word in the correct way. Because, you know, everybody has something to say, and sometimes they say it just to fit in. And especially with discussing marriage and women.
Okay. Anybody want to respond to Naomi? Before I play? Okay. All right, here we go.
Up and love me, and that give me a little extra, give me a little grace. Understand that I'm a man, but I'm a nigga too. I ain't gonna be perfect. Look over some of my flaws. Help me.
What flaws would that be?
Candy, I just told you my heart, bro.
What would that be?
I'm not a great person all the time, Candy. I'm honest. I'm not great all the time. I'm not gonna be good 7 days a week.
And
some
you
days.
have joked about the black men don't cheat movement.
It's not a joke, Candy. This is serious business.
That's a lie.
All right.
You
When
say
you
black
hear that,
men don't cheat.
when you hear that, what are you saying? What do you hear
Appeal.
when that is said? What do you hear?
The words black men don't cheat.
I didn't say black men haven't cheated. I didn't say black men won't cheat. I'm saying black men don't cheat. Black men don't.
So it need to be a comma.
No, I don't.
It need to be black men.
Punctuation is important.
Yeah, well, y'all need to put a comma in that so people understand what you're trying to say.
Why, Candace?
Because
Candace, why?
First of all, my name is not Candace.
Candy, why? Why, Candy?
Because those are two different statements. Once you, I didn't go to college, but I know once you drop that comma in it or you take that comma out, it makes two different statements. Okay, black men don't cheat means that these particular men, this group of men over here, they never cheat. Black men don't cheat is totally different.
Black men don't cheat. We really be victims most of the time, Candy. Most of the time.
Victims of what?
Candy, sometimes women see you being a good black man, and they want to disrupt that. They see you out here being a good father, treating your girl nice, and just building an empire, and they want to step in. Once they see you doing good, they want to be down with your program. So don't be mad because I'm the one out here promoting good black men and stuff that we need.
No. Okay, let's be clear. To me, that's all the more reason where you should know to stay strong when you have, people trying to disrupt you being the good black man you claim to be.
At least we trying, Candy. I don't hear you out here telling black women not to cheat.
What?
I don't never hear you promoting that part.
I personally feel like a lot of times that is a reaction to them being done wrong.
Candy, you've been out the streets for a little minute. I'm letting you know.
Yeah, I've been out the streets for a
little minute. Things have definitely changed.
Yes, because women are tired. They're tired of being dogged out, cheated on, and all that.
And these women different. Now they drinking the whole bottle of Don Julio. Remember when they was out here and ladies was getting free drinks and they was cute little drinks, Cosmos, little fruits. They drank 2 little blue drinks. Now they out here drinking like your grandfather. They put their hands on you. Can't nobody tell them nothing. They at the red light twerking on the headlight. Every time you look up, she posted up in a Rolls Royce Phantom with the stars in the ceiling. You're not in NFL. Where you get all this nice shit from, Miss Lady? Now don't nobody qualify because you done talked to 2 football people. 3 rappers was in your DM. Now you don't like nobody no more. Now he got to make $36 million a year just to get a text back. Come on, Ken. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous, Ken. I'm out here telling, hey, black man, work on your home. Stay strong, bro. I know it's hard. I know you ain't gonna get credit for everything that you do, but now we ain't nobody type no more. They mad at every time they see a black man happy, what they do? Shut that down. Look at the city of Atlanta. That's why they changed the whole city. Black men were too happy in Atlanta.
Because they was having their way with women all the way around here. And now the women finally been like, you know what? That is over.
See,
we're gonna even the playing field around here.
Out the women. It was just black men having too many options. And they hated that. That's why they shut Buckhead down. Remember Buckhead? Buckhead? What was out there doing? Having a ball, pulling up in Ferraris, jumping out of Bentleys, going to the Velvet Room and Visions and getting sessions. What they do? Locked up everybody who was successful.
First of all, they still have way too many options.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do. It's a lot.
I'm gonna stop it there really quickly. So he mentioned that most men are victims. I know he said a lot of other things. I've seen Bo have some expressions on her face. Shan was laughing. Let's get some of these folks that haven't spoken. Welcome to the panel, Mistaken. What are you guys' thoughts? What are you thinking? Shan, he brought you a Mistaken City up. I don't know how it is in Atlanta, but what do you think about most men are victims and what Karlous had to say?
I think that I think that if you're saying that they're seduced, sure, I guess there is seduction that takes place, right? But I think that grown people make decisions, and some people are disciplined, some people are not disciplined, right? The disciplined people know how to walk away from temptation. The ones who are not fall into temptation. That does not make you a victim. You could be a victim of your vices, I suppose, but I don't think that the way he's speaking of it, I don't necessarily agree with that. I must say, but I can see so some of the things that he stated, some of the women who are out here, I see that if you are a part of that village, which I think he is, you may see a lot of twerking on the cars. You may see, around you. That may be prevalent. I don't see it, but he may be around that. If you go to a club, you may see some people outside the car. If you go,
somewhere in Atlanta and it's party time, there will be people dancing, taking the, party outside, I suppose. But if you're just saying in a neighborhood, quiet neighborhood, every day in the grocery store, I know that people like the TikTok. I only see that on TikTok. I never go into Target and see people doing those things, not around me. I've never come across it. So what I'm saying is, it's very rare. But I think that the internet makes it seem like it takes place more often around more people than it actually does. And so that's the part about the females. But I do see what he's saying because I see it on the internet. Obviously, if it's on the internet, somebody's doing it somewhere. So
there's people in Atlanta on the internet doing it. And I feel bad that we forget sometimes that he's not in his age group that he's seeing this are going to be like, the girls who are the younger older women, the women who are 30, 35 and down that are still outside trying to be seen or trying to, just have their best life. That's what he's seeing because where the celebrities hang out. Like there's not a large, section of older women that are going to be hanging out in the circles he hangs out with because those women tend to not be invited or included, given the fact that, celebrities want the younger, better looking women.
So I'm sorry, Willie.
For in Atlanta, like as a guy who used to frequent there, Atlanta is not far from what he's describing. If you're the type of you're in clubs or you're hanging out at lounges, this is what you're gonna see. And for him, if he changed his requirements and maybe looked at older women, he might not see that because I'm not gonna say that 45 year old women are any less promiscuous, but they are a lot less ostentatious about how they are. They'll sleep around, but they won't be outside twerking on cars and all the rest of that shit because their knees can't take it.
So can I say something? So I don't disagree with that, but I will also say that if you are younger, it depends on the group that you hang around because there are younger, classier areas. It just depends on where you are and what you decide to be around. Atlanta is huge. It's got wealthy people. It's got rich people. It's got middle class. It's got lower middle. You have choices here, right? So it depends on where you choose to go, whether you're young or old. That's going to decide on what you see, the environment that you see. So the people that you see in that environment is what I'm trying to say. So.
But that would mean that the environment doesn't influence choices because you choose where you go based off of the environment. And what he likes is based off of his preferences. So his preferences don't come before the environment does. Any of these restaurants that are popular in Atlanta, almost every one of them, especially the black-owned ones, it's that celebrities in there, it's girls in there with their ass out, it's girls in there twerking in front of kids because they are trying to be seen. It's not uncommon, and that's where that man goes. And again, Atlanta's not big geographically either. Let's dispel that myth now. It's not a very large city. And Atlanta, the average black household is only worth $6,000 in Atlanta. So all of the black excellence and wealth and affluence you're talking about is only coming from a very small percentage of people. It's not everybody in Atlanta is not doing well. The majority of black people in Atlanta aren't successful or rich or in business. The majority of them are regular people that are living check to check like the rest of the country is.
Yeah, so when I say Atlanta, let me just clarify. I mean the metro area. So it's not just the inner city of Atlanta. I was speaking of the metro area of Atlanta, all the counties that make up the metro area of Atlanta. And so with that being said, you have choices because things are not that far away from each other. If you don't want to be in the midst of, it can be a nice place to go to right down the street from a rancher place. It's just your choice, right? So there are places you can go. Like I saw a reel, and I think he must have been a basketball player because he's tall. I don't know. But one of the things he was speaking of, he was like, I guess the guy asked him, what's the best rooftop in Atlanta? And he spoke of, he was like, it's very classy, it's this, and he had all these great things to say. You won't see any of that riffraff, but he chose to be there because then he knows that's the atmosphere of that rooftop. When you go there, you know that you have to present well, right? And so I think it's just, what I'm saying is there are choices.
Yeah, but Shay, that's common sense. There's choices. That's not saying anything profound. The issue that he's talking about is that the majority, you don't have a lot of choices to choose from in Atlanta that aren't like that, which is a fact.
I don't agree with
You
that.
don't have a lot of places to choose from that are like that in Atlanta. The overwhelming majority of Atlanta is like that.
I
And
don't agree with that.
of course, you don't agree with it because you don't know. You only know the side you look for. For him, someone who can see both. For me, someone who's seen both. For the rest of us that have been to Atlanta, we know how Atlanta is.
But is that because it's your preference? Because that's what you like?
Know both. So we know both sides. So I have times where I have to go do some classy shit. Then I have times I have to go do some ratchet shit with people. So of the two of us, I have to actually go do both. You only choose to do one. Absolutely. He chooses to do one, and he chooses to do both. He knows. But just because you're saying there's a choice, that's not okay. Yeah, cool. He chooses to do this because he is in this circle, and that's what he has to do. You choose to do what you do because you're in your circle, and that's all you can do. So he has significantly more choices than you do, or more things he's exposed to. So he sees more of it. That's why his opinion is what it is.
Two things. So I agree with you. There is a lot of that going on, right? But I would disagree that there's not equal amount. There's not an equal amount of classy things to do.
How would you know?
It's a choice about which one you want to do, which you choose, the environment you choose to put yourself into. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you're wrong as far as there's a lot of ratchetness going on. I'm just saying, but there's a choice. You don't have to be around the ratchetness. You can always choose not to be.
But how would you make that assumption when you don't know? You don't know. All you know is what you go look for. You'd have to actually go out and look and see to say, well, I think you can. You feel that way. That's a feeling that sounds good. But for those of us who've seen it, we know it's not, because there's significantly easier to go find some bald-headed hoe shit to do in Atlanta than there's to find some classy upscale shit to do in Atlanta. Significantly easier. And the barrier to entry.
Talk to me. I'm gonna take you out on the town.
I trust me. I have the classy side of Atlanta is in the back of my pocket. We're fine. But the barrier to entry for entertainment in Atlanta is low. And when the barrier to entry or something is low, you get low quality people. So all of those high-end places, they don't even get the attention of most spots. And then two, to keep it a buck with you, a lot of those high-end places have some ratchet shit underneath them that's going on. A lot of these classy upscale lounges in Atlanta are some of the hubs for where all the call girls and escorts work out of too. Sure. So we can't necessarily call that shit classy either.
Bo, you want to chime in? True. After that.
So, is there an echo? Okay, it's gone now. So I find what he said about his mother, losing his mother, particularly interesting, because guys oftentimes speak of and like put women down for having trauma or like daddy issues or like daddy wounds, saying that they ain't got time to deal with that. But we have to deal with your trauma and your issues. We have to give you grace and work with you. And so I found that particularly interesting because every woman is not out here wounding people with their wounds. They just need a little bit more grace as they deal with their triggers. And I think that that is fair. I don't think that people should be harmed by someone else's triggers and trauma. But also, with a man that has a significant amount of money, influence, fame, or whatever, I wouldn't necessarily paint them as like victims as much as they are. It's just the people that they meet is a consequence of their status and money and fame. They are basically prey for the women who see the opportunistic women that seek out men specifically for them to take care of them. So I wouldn't paint him as a victim so much as, listen, this the environment that you in, this is what you get. You have to seek out intentionally other women, like women that are put up and put away. We are normally, minding our business in grocery stores and TJ Maxx and Target. You can catch me in West Elm or something like, like I'm out trying to explore and see stuff. I don't go to the clubs. Women of my friends' caliber don't go to clubs with, like, they're professional women. They seek different lifestyles. So when you're in that type of lifestyle, when you're in clubs and in these places, you're gonna get ratchet. So he just has to change his perspective. I wouldn't necessarily paint him as a victim, but I heard a lot more. I'll just let the conversation go because I can't hold that much in my head no more.
All right, go ahead, True.
I like what Bo said because she kind of set a good foundation of the word victim, and my interpretation of what he was speaking to wasn't so much being a victim as far as being maybe in trouble, being vulnerable. I do believe that when you ascend and you have a lifestyle that is more public, famous, have notoriety, you become a victim of your success. And so what now becomes what usually is something that most common folks don't have to be concerned with. Like when you don't have any fame, you can go to Target, you can go to Walmart, you can do things that would not garner certain attention. But when you become someone who is in a public eye, you do become a victim of the success. Now, if you spent majority of your life being in a sense normal or human, and now because of your ascension, something like introducing yourself to a young lady or, trying to get to know somebody becomes that much more difficult. So that's what I took from what he was saying about men being victims. And then he took it a different direction by also speaking to the fact that it's not even necessarily fame based, that men who seem to actually arrive at being responsible, having a woman, having a family, sometimes stand out to most women. And for whatever reason, I don't know why that is true, but that is true. I think most men would be able to speak to that you could be single and women may pay you that much attention. But something about when you get into a relationship and then you start really doing your thizzle, it illuminates. Like they somehow, some way can smell commitment on you, smell responsibility, smell your 401k or your stock portfolio. I don't know what that is. And I think for most women, they'll never see the difference because they're always being pursued. Whether you're single, in a relationship, fat, skinny, depressed, it don't matter. You guys get attention from men all seasons of your life, but every man cannot say that. So I do believe that the male experience is very different, that we do have to experience now learning how to navigate. I heard Miss Shan say for those who were disciplined compared to undisciplined, and that seems to be a common thought with women, that they think it is a disciplined play, not understanding that most of the time the discipline of repelling women is not perfected by most men, because most men don't got to worry about it. Most men can go through their majority of their day-to-day life, not have to worry about being hit on, not have to worry about being essayed or any of those things. So I would argue that the discipline part, I would put that more on the female of the species, because you guys actually get inundated with attention. And what happens is that when you as a man become successful or you get some level of notoriety, you essentially get your superpower, like y'all superpower that you're born with, if that makes any sense. So it's a very different experience. And I think that sometimes it's unfair and maybe even a little bit insensitive of women to assume that we are just already bred to know how to deal with immense amount of attention from women, when we're most of the time just living our life. And then all of a sudden, we may think we're awesome, but then we didn't know how awesome we were. And now you're getting attention that you were not prepped or prepared for. And I'll land.
I'm interested in hearing like Hink's thoughts on what I'm about to say, because I don't know. I think that he might agree with me, actually. The reason why women, like when men get in relationships, we become more attractive to women is because they see what we're doing with our women and want that for themselves. Because we become a known good at that point. Women will lust after a lot of men, but they also desire the way they see men treating other women. That's why they read these romance novels, why they watch these movies, they believe in these love stories, because they want a man to treat them that way. So if women are seeing you and your old lady out and about, how you loving on her, how you doting on her, how you pulling out her chair, how you fixing her hair, getting out of her face, locked in, paying her attention, putting your phone down. Women see that you're doing that, and they know that, okay, well, I'm not going to say I want the relationship to end, but if it does, at least I know he is someone who is going to do these things that I like in a relationship for me, because I've seen him doing them in a relationship for his woman.
I agree with you.
All right, Mistaken or Hink, do you guys want to chime in before I play more of this clip?
Hank, wake up, nigga.
I was gonna let Mistaken go. I mean, unless she don't want to.
All right, go ahead.
No, I don't want to. I came in on the tail end, so I don't really know what
All right,
said, so I don't want to comment on something I didn't hear.
All right, cool. So far we got kind of like 2+ individuals said men can't be victims. It's a choice.
Nobody said you can't be victims.
Yeah, that's what they said. So based on what they said, it's sad. It's sad that we heard this, that a man cannot be a victim, because he can in all types of form of fashion, even in essay. A man can be a victim of an essay. I know we just because we big and strong or burly or whatever the case may be, we can be taken advantage of that way. But I think it's further shows of my theory that they don't give a damn about our black ass. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about us. It's a choice. We choose to put ourselves in this situation. We choose to feel this way. We choose to go out here and deal with this and deal with that. We choose to. Well, okay, since y'all love this word partner so much, since it's gonna be one and the same, it's a choice when y'all do it too, then, right? Is that fair to say? If I'm off, please let me know. But I don't think I am. Unfortunately, men are victims way too much, because we will tolerate and stay in and put up with some shit that we normally shouldn't be put up with. And so now he's talking about these women who's going out here popping their ass, popping their cat all day, and can't find a good woman. Well, you're not going to. Now, so I think somebody said it may be in the atmosphere he's looking. Okay, it could be. And so maybe he needs to go into a different atmosphere. Maybe he needs to go into a different place and deal with different type of women. Maybe he needs to do that. But it's not saying some of these elder women are not doing that same bullshit too. Because if some of these women are around doing Freaknik, they about my age. They in the 50s. They was popular then. They still undercover freaks now. Ain't nothing changed. They just do a little bit more classy. They don't do as much. I think Willie said they don't do as much because the knees hurt and they can't get up. And that's okay. Go get you some BioFreeze, a little bit of icy hot, rub it on your knees and your back. Keep it going. I landed there.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and play some more of this video.
A lot of options.
And do you know how many women, black men in Atlanta, have to turn down just because they don't fit in the radius clause?
Huh?
Ain't nobody about to be driving up to Gwinnett. Ain't nobody going to Douglasville. You a good woman. You could really be somebody's wife, but you are out of the radius clause, Candace. Come on now.
Well, what I would say is that a lot of them that are in the city, you know, they had to keep a lot of black men to keep them pockets blowing, to keep them bills up.
See, we have become a source of income for these.
It is, I would say.
Is that fair?
I would say a lot of things aren't fair. The way
double standards is cool.
The way a lot of those men who have money like that treat these women is unfair.
What about the ones who treat them right, Candy?
Okay.
Nobody ever talked about it. We only
right.
focused on the negative. We got black men out here doing a great job taking care of 3-4 women, making them all feel special.
Taking care of 3-4
Making
women.
them all feel special. Taking them on individual vacations, and the pictures never collide.
Okay, what do you do?
What do I do?
Mm-hmm.
Candy, after my last one, I can't even sit here and act like I got this game figured out.
Were you the problem?
Not this time. Not this time. I have been the problem in the past.
Okay.
I made a series of miscalculated decisions, which led to a snowball effect. and I take full responsibility for all the failures in all the relationships that I had participated in.
Okay.
But I can't sit here and tell you what's wrong with somebody else's daughter. I can't do that. She got her own problems, Candy.
Got it. Okay.
This is becoming real therapeutic, Candy. I don't know if you know, but you're helping me work through some things.
See, I don't even really want to go that hard with you right now because I definitely disagree with you on a lot of what you're saying.
Why, Candy?
Why? Because I do feel like even if, let's say, for instance, the woman or the women out here are trying to do right in the relationship,
they're not trying. That's what I'm saying.
No,
you don't
they do.
Every time you say that, all these men put their head down. They know.
No, the women are trying, and then they run into one of y'all that think that you can have 3 different women and keep them all going at the same time, and think that it's okay just because you're giving a little something here, a little bit, something there. That's
say one thing.
That doesn't.
These are the men that y'all are choosing, not you, but these women. They choose these men. They know exactly who these men are and what they do, and that never stopped. I don't know why they think they can change these men. You got with him because he was that dude. You got with him because all the other women like him. You got with him and you knew that he didn't want a relationship, and you thought you was gonna show up and make some chicken Alfredo and change this man's mind. You chose this. I can't sit here and let y'all keep bashing and blaming these men.
Okay, so
all right, I'm gonna stop it there. Ms. Taken, you wanna comment on what you just heard or respond? What are your thoughts? Oh,
hold on.
There you go.
Am I lagging?
You good? I think it caught up.
Okay. I kind of support what Shan was saying in terms of choices and options that you have available. Like he specifically stated, I'm not going up to Gwinnett or Douglasville to meet these women that are available because they're out of the radius. So if you are in a radius where there's majority of the type of women that you don't want to deal with, but not willing to go outside of the radius to get the women that you say you want, I don't see that being a victim. That's definitely a choice selection. So that's all I have to say about that in terms of hearing what they were saying. If even as women are saying that there aren't any good men, there's not a lot of men available, things like that. If your goal is to get married, if your goal is to have a decent relationship, sometimes you're going to have to go out of your comfort zone to meet these people. If you're trying to stay where you're at with the hopes of thinking that you're going to meet a man that you want in the same environment is unrealistic. And then you can't blame all of the men and saying that all of the men are bad when you're just in this radius of where you're meeting men. And that's the same thing for him. Neither one of them can claim victimhood, or what actually that's probably the biggest hood, victimhood on both sides, when you can't meet the people that you want, but you're also not willing to take the risk outside of where you're at.
So I think that I don't think men are victims. I think that, well, good men aren't victims in the helpless sense, but I do think that some of what everybody is saying, that they are affected by certain patterns in today's culture. Like, you know, a lot of good men or decent men are overlooked in a society that rewards flashiness, you know what I mean, over consistency or respectfulness. I think that a lot of good men are victims of past hurt that they didn't create. You know, our walls are like high all the time. The trust is low, always being questioned. As women, we want men that are, we say, be a leader, but the next minute we say, don't be controlling. And then we say, well, we want an emotionally available man, but we say, don't be so soft. So I think that sometimes, not victims is a good word, but sometimes a lot of men don't even know what the line is, so they either hesitate or they disengage. A lot of times men, I hate using the word victim over and over again, but low standards become normalized. So a good man's effort sometimes can go unappreciated or be expected without reciprocation. You know, so I think that some men are victims of silence, where, you know, like a lot of good men aren't the loudest in the room, but you know, the narrative gets shaped like, you know, some men are toxic, or they hurt, they got, you know, hurt, they've been hurt, or, you know, negativity, things like that. So that's just my thoughts. Yeah.
So I guess I'm the only one that heard bullshit. Here's the thing. I have never been privileged with hearing the things that I hear all the time so close together, like in the same conversation. Because what he did was, I'm a victim because all of these wretched people, and they do this and women do that, and men just, you know, we just get caught up in the, okay, great. So when Candy brought up women being treated any old type of way by men, especially men with money, well, they chose wrong. Bitch, okay. Because he, like, y'all don't hear. So you not wanting to go out of this radius to get the good women, instead you pick out of the garbage can that you keep putting yourself in. That's not choosing wrong. Like, you're consciously saying, I know no good women are here, but I'm going to choose one of these, and hopefully I can humble one of them, and I got enough money so that she'll get on my program and not bullshit me. But it always ends up in something. And also, he's just a shitty man in the first place, because I've heard some of the things that he said in the past. But I digress. You want all of those women to become the woman that you want because you're too lazy to go get the actual women that you do want. But somehow, some way, women are choosing wrong. Men are also choosing wrong. You are a victim of your own choices. Like, I can't stand how men do this white woman thing. Some men have become new white women. You can't make soup out of shit and then complain when it's nasty when you eat it. Like, why would you put shitty ingredients together and be like, oh my God, I can't believe it's nasty. Who put the shit in it? You, my nigga. So if women are choosing wrong, men also have to accept the fact that they are also choosing wrong. Like, am I the only one that heard this shit?
No, I just want to shout you out for doubling down, Bo. Do what you do. I like what you're saying. Keep speaking that truth, your truth. Keep speaking it.
But also, Pink, I did want to say something about the whole partner thing. So I know you don't like it, and I'm not trying to make you like it, but I just want to be extremely clear. When I say partner, I just mean two people who are in a relationship who work together. There is no equality there. There is an equity there. I would like decision making where it fits me. You know what I'm saying? But I don't like the whole, you know, I don't like how people misrepresent what some women are saying about partnership. So some women just want to be included in their relationship because there are a lot of men who do not work with their wives. They work independent of their wives. And not necessarily it's always a good thing. Sometimes it's a detriment to the marriage or the relationship in general. So when I say partnership, the only thing I mean is just bring that woman in to the relationship so that both of you all can work together as a team. So that's what partnership means to me. And I very rarely refer to my actual partner as my partner, only when I'm speaking in spaces where I'm trying to represent them being my teammate. So that's when I use the word partner. But you ain't got to like it. I know you're not going to never like it. I just want to be clear on what I mean because everybody wants to throw in the word equality. And I do not believe in equality in marriage and relationships because we're men and women. But equity is the thing.
All right. Go ahead, play some more of this clip and then we'll get some more reactions.
back to you. What type of man are you going forward?
Going forward,
yeah,
I'm gonna be a better man. I'm gonna be a little bit more understanding, and I'm gonna put myself in better situations. I'm gonna tell them off the top. I'm gonna make the expectations real low.
Okay, how are we making the expectations low?
I'm gonna let them. I'm like, hey, I'm up.
What?
Off the rip.
That would be a lie, though, right?
That's what I'm saying. I want the expectations to be low.
So help me
when I do something, they're gonna be like, look at you.
So you want to be selfish?
No.
Okay.
It's not about being selfish. I'm just gonna under-promise and over-deliver. It's my strategy going forward.
Okay, strategy.
Yeah, you gotta have a game plan. It's hard to be the man with.
Wait, say that line again. One time. You gotta under-promise and over-deliver.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I'm gonna do. But I've been in a few good relationships, but the ones that really stood out was the bad ones, because that's when I learned the most. Because it's like you get to an age where you realize it's not anything you can do. You can't love somebody into loving you.
Well, what is bad to you right now?
What is bad?
What is a bad relationship to you?
One-sided. If you're the person that's doing all the relationship by yourself, it's not gonna work. If you're the one always got to buy everything, or be the one always got to fix something, or be the one that's always fighting for the relationship by yourself, you're never gonna be happy like that.
Makes sense.
But you do have to be with somebody that will let you have selfish moments. Sometimes it ain't just about us. Sometimes it's gonna be me. Sometimes it's gonna be you. Sometimes it's gonna be us. But we have to allow each other to have those moments.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, don't just be over there making little faces and.
Because I'm taking in what you're saying.
You should be helping me. You out here happy. You should be giving me some advice, Candy.
This is not about me. This is about you. Exactly. For me to interview you, not for you to interview me.
Candy,
I'm not on 85
This is an exchange of game.
Speak on it.
This is an exchange of game.
Okay. This is what I need to know. You said women create supermen in their minds and men just see what's in front of them.
Yeah.
Walk through that. What's that mean?
I think we all got a level of delusion when it comes to other people. We be expecting so much, not knowing that we all just humans with flaws and heartbreaks and hang-ups and insecurities. And you can't just expect somebody to show up in your life and fix all the broken pieces. Somebody gonna have to accept that, hey, sometimes great. Sometimes I can't stand this, but it's the in-between that makes you stay.
Okay. And then you said you are not the type to be close homeboys with women. What does that mean? And why is that a boundary?
Well, you know how it is on the nightlife scene here. I'm sure some of the fellas can relate. You go out with a nice lady and, you do the date thing and you want to show her different parts of the city that she might not go to. And then you start bringing her places and she's like, oh, that's my homeboy Charles. Red flag. Because first of all, why you know him? Why you know all the security guards in the city?
Now, if you popular,
don't know about it.
I mean, I always know a lot of people, obviously.
Well, just say you know him. But when you start saying my homeboy, he like a brother to me, you got to get left at the spot. You finna have to get an Uber because you too friendly.
Not have to get an Uber.
Yeah, because in Atlanta, I tell you, if I bring you around some and it's certain that I already know what you done been on.
What?
Absolutely.
What does that mean?
Man, come on, man. Come on. You know exactly what that means. And it's disrespectful too. You think you're doing something and you showing this lady a nice time and you take it to the little Hawks game or something and y'all got some decent little seats. You like, hey, this all right. And she was like, yeah, but last time we sat over there, but these cool. This cool. I like it over here. I ain't never been in this part. I usually be up there, but I like this. This is cute. When she started calling your little cute, get out of there, my boy.
Oh no.
I'm going to stop it there, man. Anything stood out for y'all? That last bit of
he's telling the truth, and I don't know why Candy 50 years old, divorced, and talking like she's 25, single and still in her prime is weird to me. But everything he said is right. You take a girl out and she goes somewhere.
Wait, Willie, you said she talking like she in her prime. How's she doing that?
Well, not she's talking as if she still commands the same type of men that she could when she was in her prime. Her talking points alone don't reflect where she is in life. And she not nowhere. If this was Nia Long, okay, cool. Nia Long is still there ish, right? She had a Playboy spread, look great, right? Whatever. But this conversation having Karlous is he's a comedian. So trying to take everything he says serious is almost disingenuous because he's saying things in a manner that's funny because he's a comedian. But the stuff he's saying isn't wrong. You take a girl somewhere and she knows 4 or 5 security cards, that's a dub. If you take a girl somewhere and she's like, oh yeah, I've been here, that's a dub. Y'all heard me say this same shit. You look at a girl's Instagram and she got 18 out of the country trips, but she's a school teacher. You know, vagina is probably financing that. Like, there's a lot of this stuff that you just know that when you see these women to tell you, like, this is probably going to be a dub. If a girl gets into a certain car that most people never even see, but she knows how to open the door, sync her phone to the Bluetooth, but she drives a 2020 Nissan Altima, you know what type of time she's been on. Like, girls knowing how to get out of Ferraris, Corvettes, Bentleys, Rolls Royces, you know what those girls are doing. So when he take her to the game, they sit, you know, lower section, but not courtside, she's automatically comparing him to the last nigga she was with. That's what he's talking about when he says women create superheroes in their mind. Women's vaginas get stuck on the highest setting based on the richest man with the most resources they've had fuck them before.
You think it's some truth to what Willie said, mistaken? You got kind of stoic face. I can't read you. I don't know if that's planned or intentional or.
No, I just believe that people feel the way that they want to feel, believe what they want to believe. And if that's the way, you know, I'm not a man. I'm not specifically him, but I do know I take trips all the time. And I'm a teacher. so there is some kind of like, oh, really? So you got to be on some type of time. If you're a teacher, you're traveling all over the world. One thing that teacher knows how to do is find opportunities, bargains. They're going to make some stuff happen. I've traveled all over the world and probably do not pay as much as other people do, because I'm using hack systems. I'm going to invest in learning how I can travel the way that I want to. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes people perception is their truth. And so if somebody's built up a certain, you know, idea of women and or men, then that's what they're going to see no matter what. And so you can't argue with that. So I'm not.
This is one of those things that I wish, and I said this the other night on the broadcast where I say, like, women don't date, they participate. This is like a clear example of that, because I don't know a lot of women that may be like, let's say, gifting dudes experiences or maybe something, items, right? And like, let's say you buy your dude the Jordan 3s, and then he like, oh, these is cute. And, you know, because my last chick bought me some ones or whatever. And I think that sometimes is what makes it hard, maybe generally speaking, that women don't get it. What he was saying and what Willie was saying and what most of the time we're saying is that, yo, we do not want to experience things that you've experienced with other dudes. It's hard to find where we're now going to solidify our position in your life. Your exposure is great. That's fine. I know what you're saying, Ms. Taking. You've traveled all over the world. You are in a different state in your life as far as being a married woman. So your experiences are, I would say, self experiences, maybe family experiences, maybe, I'm assuming. But when you're a single woman doing these things and then you're still on the market, it's a completely different experience. And no man wants to play second or third or 12th to your life's experiences. And I don't know that'll ever be something that women in general grasp until they start doing things for men that they are maybe proud of. And he's just like, yeah, I done been there, done that, and vocal about it. And that's why I say they don't typically date. It's two completely different experiences.
True. It's not until women start doing things for themselves at the level they expect men to do things for. When I said that if a teacher is going on all these trips, this is what I mean. Because I'm gonna talk to you like you're in the 5th grade now. Teachers make $100,000, who just for a number. And if I see a teacher, I know what she makes a year. I'll give her that $100,000. If she's been on 7 Oconus trips this year, Bali, the Maldives, Turks, Aruba, the French Riviera, she went to Cannes. Each one of those trips, even if you're using Groupon and some other shit, airplane travel, it's gonna cost you $5,000. So the girl been on 8 trips. That's $40,000 of her $60,000 or $100,000 salary. So she's living off of 60. So a lot of the times the hack system they use is between their legs. These motherfuckers are not going through getting travel agent certificates so they get cheaper flights. And that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about those women who are the majority. Every time I say something like that, there is a woman or a group of women who try to say, well, that doesn't apply to me. Like, because it's like the hit dog hollering, trying to make sure that he's not a hit. That's not what I'm talking about. It's not what Karlous was talking about. We're talking about the chicks who obviously can't afford the lifestyles they have, obviously can't afford to go do the things they're saying that they're doing, and then acting as if we're supposed to be surprised when we follow up behind that and find out, like, yeah, okay, you were sitting courtside, row AAA, bet. Now you sitting double A, you looking at me crazy. Like, that's something that men have to do, because again, y'all's vaginas get stuck on the highest setting based on what your previous experience was or what you think that you deserve based on what you've had access to. And it's almost as if women in mass intentionally disregard the fact that they know why men are doing these things. If a nigga takes a girl on a date and has her courtside, he knows she should understand it's dick come with that. He's not doing that shit because he thinks she's great or he's appreciative, she's a teacher, or because she's cute. It's because he wants to fuck. Nobody is spending $5,000 on 2 courtside tickets to go with a girl they just want to get to know. No, even if the money, you're not doing that. So it's just when we say these things, people try to go to like the most obvious reasons where it wouldn't be applicable and then try to make a stance there. That's not what we're talking about. Like, these chicks the chicks he's talking about are more common than the ones y'all are trying to defend.
Well, that's where I guess I disagree. I think the chicks that he's talking about, you're absolutely right, because he admitted the type of chicks that he's hanging out with. So, like I said, in terms of proximity, what he said was, ain't nobody going all the way out to Gwinnett. We ain't nobody going all the way out to Douglasville to meet these women, right? So how can you have a fair comparison of the type of women when you're selectively choosing to be with those specific women that you're talking about? So in that regard, the way that you think about women and your experiences are absolutely going to lean on that side, right? So for me, and not just me, just even in terms of groups of people who, before even I got married, they were traveling. They had, because of the environment they were in terms of exposure. So everybody responds to the environment that you're in. I had friends, and this isn't just me. I grew up like most, I would assume, Black people. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, in the hood. But our experiences in the schools that I went to, things like that, put me in proximity to other people who were going to boarding schools, who were going to this kind of school because of the area that we lived in. We had an opportunity, right? And so your environment is going to shape the way that you see things. Your experiences are going to shape the way that you see things. So if all of his experiences are in this radius, then that's his belief. But you can't say that majority is like this when you haven't even been outside of your radius to experience other people who are not like that. That's all I'm saying.
The problem with that logic is, if you're saying that he's choosing to not go somewhere, that means none of y'all can say that men ain't shit or there's no good men, because you guys are choosing to fly to where other places where men are. That man has significantly more money than most people that have this conversation do. So him saying that he's not choosing, he's saying in his side where he is, there's not. And it doesn't make sense for him to go over to these places just for that one thing. The same reason it wouldn't make sense for you to go to a different state because you heard there are good men there, or because you know there are good men in a different city. That's unrealistic, because if your logic was sound, then anytime a woman says that niggas ain't shit or there's no good men, what she's really saying is there are no good men and I'm choosing not to go where the good men are. And none of y'all are going to put that on women. Like, unless you want to like try to defend the point. But aside from when we've had these panels where women have said it before, that has never been you guys' logic until today.
I absolutely not. I have always said, and even I wouldn't even say limited to going outside of Gwinnett. If your goal is to be married as a woman, if his goal is to find a type of woman that he wants that he can marry, and in the area that you're in, you don't see those, If that is your priority, you make adjustments. I know people who literally left their states to go to other states to meet a potential partner because they said that just where they're at, there just aren't any options. I know people who have left the country. Y'all talk about passport bros all the time, right? So people are willing to go if that is their priority. So if it's not your priority and you're okay with where you're at and just like, okay, I'll deal with the bullshit. This is what's available. I don't want to, because it has nothing to do with money per se. Like you're saying, he has all of this money. He can meet any chick that he wants, but he is actually choosing not to. To me, that is a decision. That is not limited access or options. It's a choice, period.
When did he say
spend it whatever way you want? It no, I know people, young kids now who are getting married. My son just got married, and y'all are speaking of that age group. My son is 26. He got married at 21. So when you're speaking of the age group, I'm not saying that he said that they ain't good women out there. He absolutely said that there are a lot of women that are crap in my age group. So it's not that I discount what y'all saying. What I discount is saying that you can't choose better because he's grown up in the age that you're referring to, the generation that you're referring to, with less experience, I would say, than somebody who's 30 that's complaining about the same thing. But yet he was able to find somebody at 21 and get married. So you can't tell me a man of his means, his experience, his age can't have the same results.
Wait. So two things you're doing. One, he never said his priority was finding someone to date. So you predicated everything you said off of that. And so that's kind of elite.
That's why I said if his priority is.
So let's
pay attention.
He said he can't. So what I'm paying attention to is what's actually being said. And then two, you can't compare him to your son. Your son is 21 and has significantly lower standards, lower resources, and fewer options than that man has. So of course it's going to be easier for your son, the more average of the two, to find someone to build with. However, what we also can't deny that we know is likely to happen is that marriage won't last. And that two, if Karlous gets married, his marriage probably won't last. So they're equal there. But to compare your son to Karlous Miller, well, if my son can find somebody to get married, that's just disingenuous at best. Because again, you're comparing an average person to a celebrity.
I'm comparing this circumstance to the celebrity has way more options. I agree. So that means the fact that he has way more options, if his priority was to find a relationship where he prioritized, he can find that person. If my son, as you said, is average, right, which most people are, right, he has options, right? He has average options. In his situation, he has money, he has experience. So his options, he has, I would say, even more options than my son because he can move from average to above average. So he has more options. If it is his priority to find a relationship, bottom line, he does not want to be in a relationship right now, period.
He never said it was his priority, which is why we're arguing that. I don't understand.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question? Any lady can answer. Oh, sorry, Naomi, I didn't see your hand. Go ahead. So I'm curious because as I was listening to you guys talk, right, something stood out that Miss Taken said, even what Willie said about the celebrity thing. And this is again what I hope to do eventually is to be able to really paint in the minds of women the difference of what's expected. So have any of you women possess the skill set, maybe like a masseuse or something that is performative that a man can see, and then you start to date him, but he doesn't experience those things, or maybe you're a chef, or maybe something in your life is a professional capacity that would, I guess, he could potentially experience with you. Have any of you women seen that in your girlfriends or have those type of skill sets at all? And then I'll go further from there because I'm going somewhere with it. Yes?
Say that again. I'm not sure if I understood what you said. Can you say that again?
How do you yourself, or do you know any women that have things that if she was meeting a man and he knows she's capable of this, maybe she's a dancer, maybe she's a masseuse, maybe she's a chef, and she dates him, and it would be probably quite fair for him to expect to get those things from her because he knows she's capable of doing it. Do you know any women like this? Yes.
I would think,
no.
Yeah. I would think
Yeah,
that would
right.
be most people getting it. Yeah.
Okay, Bo's pointing to her. Okay, the reason why I asked that, and I'm gonna try to eventually be able to bridge this and solidify this in women's mind. The disadvantage of a man that is public, especially one with money, it's very difficult for him to date a woman on a normal level because she can prove that he's capable of more. So his experience with her is not gonna be the county fair or the taco truck or those things in mass, because she knows he's capable of more. So the why I'm saying that is because this again is why it's very different. It'd be no different than a woman who's a chef or a masseuse, and this man is dating you, and it's been weeks or months, and you haven't prepared a meal for him. You know, you're bringing him Chick-fil-A, but you can make Le Cordon Bleu from scratch or whatever it may be. That is the difference of how when you're a man and you're actually proven to have opportunities or possibilities to create experiences with her, that's the expectation. So the dynamic is already slated. And I think that that's where a lot of times women don't take that into account. If a man has means and a man has money, let's say he chooses to pick you up in a 76 Chevy, but he can pull up in a Benz truck. Most women are not taking that as like, oh, this is cool. No, because it's like, well, why are we doing less when we can do more? And I think that that's a lot of times why when you hear, I guess, us normal people talking about it, but even those who are accomplished is trying to paint the reality of what it is to be on this side. You guys don't typically have that unless maybe you have a talent, a skill set, or something that a man can be like, oh shit, I'm gonna get home cooked meals. I may get my shoulders rubbed once a week because she can actually do this. I can prove it. Does that make sense at all? And that's where sometimes I think it falls apart for me because it's a very different experience.
I see what you're saying, but I think that that goes into the woman that you're choosing, right? Because a lot of women have not experienced those things, right? But if you're going after a woman who constantly is dating an NBA player, constantly dating an NFL player, constantly dating these type of people, of course you're competing against those people she's used to dating. But if you're dating a woman who's not into that, because there are people who are not into athletes, some people like going to the fair. I prefer to go somewhere, you know. I think that's just the people that you're choosing. I really do. But I get what you're saying. I don't disagree with what you're saying. I see that there's an inflated amount of women who are on that these days. I don't know why, they just are. I guess it's the popular thing because of social media or whatever. So I'm not saying that you're wrong. I see it too, you know, more than I would like to. But I don't want to take away from the women. I think there are a lot of women who are not like that, who appreciate the small things, right? Who are not flashy. I call it the flashy people. They're not flashy. They prefer a more reserved, like type of chill, less.
But that's why I think this again, just conversation. I think that is only under the strong assumption that she doesn't know what he's capable of. See, the disadvantage of a public figure is that this is what I'm saying. It'd be like, let's say she met him at a mixer, you know, a corporate mixer. She finds out he's a VP. She may be a receptionist, whatever. I'm just drawing a narrative, right? I don't know a lot of women that is aware that this man is capable of more because she can prove it. Girls have told me, some of my homegirls, they will LinkedIn you, they will look at your social media, and they will do a whole background check on where this man lies in just his lifestyle. So if she's aware that he can actually do more, it's not that she's saying, fly me out the first date. But if you try to walk it slow, you know, do a county fair, do something like that, I don't know. I've just seen it be that women feel almost offended. This is what I've observed.
I like to use let's take a person who is just that guy. Let's just say Chris Brown. This is what the girls like, right? You're telling me a woman would not like for Chris Brown to walk her through the freaking park? I don't believe it. And not spend a dime, just spend time with her throughout the day, not spend a dime, just enjoying Chris Brown. I don't think that that's a thing. I don't think he has to spend money like that because she's into him. She knows what he can do, yeah, but she's into him. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Am I missing something? Is that what
you are? You are only because I'll say you're partially right. That experience at that moment is temporary. I would say if she can't take pictures, so there's no proof of this. It's just her word, right? And walking through the park with Chris Brown, yeah, that may be cool for a moment, but it's not gonna stay there because she's with someone who can expand past this casual thing.
So you're telling me, so what I'm saying to you is you're saying, I think that there's women, I'm just showing you two sides, right? For me, it will be the time spent, because to me, time is valuable. Somebody of such who is willing to take time out, and even if it's a long day, we're doing nothing but talking, because talk sometimes are the best, but we're talking, and it's just consistently, like, I personally don't, but I don't like going out either, but I don't see a problem with that. That's just for me, though. I know that it's not everybody, and like I said, I agree with you, because I see it too. People want this experience, like, oh, you gonna wind it down me, blah, 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 blah. I call that. So I understand what you're saying, but I'm just saying, just like Mistaken said, there are women. Maybe you have to step outside that box and go to another box and see those types of women. But there are women who you don't have to do all of those things for. But I agree that there is a lot, especially these days. That want that experience. They're like, oh, he blew me out.
If people were more willing to step outside of boxes, there wouldn't be so many single unmarried women. Like, this stepping outside of their box thing isn't a guy issue. This is a primarily female issue that don't want to step outside their box. That's why there are more black men without children than there are women without children. That's why a lot of these women are sharing children between the same types of men, if not the same man. So expecting a man to step outside of his box when his box is literally be attractive, be cute, not be a hoe, don't sell pussy, and don't embarrass me. Like, we have a very broad box compared to what y'all have. Like, and the problem with, like, for him is that it's not that he has too many options to vet through, because vetting people still takes time. Y'all don't have as many options as men to vet for, because unless you're just looking for dick. And I don't take that you, Shan, to be one of those types of women. So you don't have as many men who want to marry you as you do that want to sleep with you. He doesn't have as many women who are worth marrying that are worth fucking. That's the difference. And it's easier to find someone to fuck for him because he's a guy and celebrity. Same way it would be you. It's harder for him to find someone worth marrying because, again, I love quoting my dog, but the good women are standing too close to the hoes. So it's very, very difficult for him to actually find and vet these women because he doesn't have time to do it.
Can I sidetrack for 2 seconds? Because I hear Willie saying this all the time, right? And I would agree. If you're dressed like a skank, I mean, people are going to say, okay, she must be a skank, right?
Hoes dressed like you right now. Like, these hoes are chameleons now. I promise you, you have in your circle.
So listen to me. But we have to use that. So that I don't like that, because that also would be like, okay, because you dress like with your hoodie, your hat to the back, you dress like a thug, so I should treat you like one. You too close together.
Yeah, I would say it wouldn't bother me because I'm a man. So I know that me being outside wearing a black hoodie, and saying black shades earlier, because I was coaching. So this is while I was out on Stallion. I can understand how someone who didn't know me would take that. But men, we don't take those types of things offensive when people do it, because we understand. If I'm in an alley, I'm 6 feet tall, 250 pounds. If I'm in an alley and I see a white woman, I expect that, or any of y'all, I expect y'all to walk across the street or get on the other side of the alley, get on your phone, fake. Like, I expect that because I know what I look like and I know what you guys may perceive me as. Y'all can't get mad at people for saying, well, if I see you out, Shane, right, and I see you with a friend that I happen to know is a documented whore, you can't be mad if my boys also know that she's a documented whore, but don't know you and think that you're whore number 2.
Oh, I can get that. First of all, they usually do it together.
And then two, you got to remember, a lot of good women are still influenced by whores. They want to do things that whores do. They want to whore vicariously through other whores. It's almost like these women take their whore friends and treat them like video game avatars and go fuck and be sluts vicariously through their vaginas because they can't do it. So they'll ask stories. They want to hear about the trips. They'll bring it up to their boyfriends. Well, my friend just got taken to Mali by her boyfriend, not knowing that her friend is a whole fucking whore. Like, that's what we're talking about when we say, like, the good women are standing too close to the hoes. Like, Illa needs to fucking trademark that, because that was probably one of the best clips in this space that's come out in the past 3 or 4 years.
All right, let's go to get
a lot of potty mouth right there.
Yeah, let's go to get Bo and Mont. I think mistaken. He wants you to take it to church, Willie.
I think Naomi wanted to speak.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Whichever one y'all want to go first. Get Mont in there because he's been patiently quiet too.
Nigga sleep. You got that soft ass chair with the massage. He probably got a foot massage.
I thought that was like a screensaver.
No, that's really his shit.
Forever.
Look, that's how you know Mont got money.
Yeah, he's trying to get his Forrest Lorano.
Damn.
You gonna zoom in and start talking. Go ahead. Between Bo and Naomi, one of y'all go.
Naomi can go.
All right, so there's a couple of different things I'm gonna circle back to, and it's gonna be to what he was saying in the clip. He said, "I'm going to under promise and over deliver," and he used that as whenever he was talking about like his like mother rooms, like I'm gonna look like I need like all kinds of things, and then really be like I don't really need it. One of the things that I think is a detriment to what he was saying is like the radius clause. I've never heard that before personally, but I understand what he's saying as far as he expects a woman of a certain caliber to end up in his proximity of the women of, I guess, the foolishness. So that didn't make any sense to me in any way, shape, or form, because I think that's a reflection of his choice of proximity. So like if he's desiring a wife, he needs to move to a different proximity for a wife. Second, I'm hearing all this back and forth on why we're not accepting the fact that this is how men see women. Like if a woman is experiencing all these things and lavish things, and a man is like, oh, there's no way that that's like within her tax bracket, so to speak, and she isn't able to obtain these things, we're going to have this misconception of where you're flipping it for, the P or whatever. So if you're a woman that's able to do these things and walk these ways and experience these things without defunding, then perhaps hold yourself a little bit more, perhaps hold yourself to another level of decorum and not show your cards the way that I see a lot of women trying to show their cards. Like it doesn't make any sense to me. And then also from what I'm hearing, I'm seeing that men tend to qualify a woman when it comes to a relationship while paying attention to her, and women tend to disqualify men according to their own perception of the type of man that they want, i.e. income and different ways, like all these things that I'm hearing majority of other women say. So if a woman is going to be dating like Chris Brown and she knows Chris Brown and the income that he is actually able to do, then she won't walk in humility without that expectation of like not going on a walk. So unfortunately, but by majority, there are not a lot of women that are willing to walk in that level of humility, to not have this expectation of extravagance. I think so. I'm going to be honest with you. I think it'd be a detriment of a woman to not have an expectation to kind of meet where he's at, but not to the point to where, oh, well, we can just, go on a walk. Because ultimately, from what I'm hearing from men, is that they want to be appreciated. They want gratitude. And from the mindset of like Mistaken and Shan, I understand the way that, and I would even say myself, I understand how just honoring their privilege of presence of the man is something that we get with maturity. But most women, even in their 30s and 40s, don't even know how to honor presence in today's society. And we hear that all the time. And depending on your proximity and where you're at, again, this is the woman's proximity. Depending on my proximity and where I am, the women around me, they know exactly how to do this. Although other women outside of my circle, they do not. That's why my personal circle is very, very small, because majority of the time when we go places, we see these women in public. We'll be like, why is this woman disrespecting this man that way? It's crazy to me. And majority of the time when a man is being disrespected in public, nobody will say anything. You know, I'm a different caliber of woman, but again, I understand that my mindset is a minority of a minority, not by majority. If that makes sense.
All right, let's go ahead and get Bo and Money now. Back down.
Yeah, I did think that whole under promise and over deliver was just a way of saying I just want to do baseline shit. Like, if you set the bar in hell, you don't have to meet much of anything. I don't like when people play games like that. Like, don't do the whole I might not. Just set realistic expectations. If you're dealing with a woman who likes all of the things and who expects so much, just set expectations. Like, we don't have to set the bar lower. Just tell the woman what you can give, what you're comfortable giving. And if you do more, great. But don't be like, I mean, you know, I ain't got but $2 and you got $2 million sitting in the bank. Like, I just thought that was problematic. I think that I'm being hyperbolic, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that the games, we're too old for games. We're too old for lying. We're too old for having to play around. Can we all just kind of tell the truth? But whatever. I thought that was dumb, but that's just me.
I think I don't know. Maybe I'm not even qualified to speak on this because I ain't been on a date in 6 years, 7 years, something like that.
What?
But yeah, I ain't been with a woman that's not mine. But I would think that y'all dating women who don't like y'all, like who just actually don't like y'all. If they expecting something from you. I know I found that most women if they actually like you, they just want to be in your space. You know, go on a walk and all that. It don't matter. They just want to be in your space. Of course, they might, if you say, oh, let's go to like somewhere that's somewhere with a stigma, they may have an issue with that. But like, don't take them to McDonald's to sit down and eat dinner. But I just would find it that you dating women who don't like you. If they, you know, got these expectations of you, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But
I think it's weird that people thought that saying that I'm going to under promise and over deliver was a bad thing, but it also speaks to, you know, people. It's one of the common pieces of advice that you would get when you're a business owner is that as a business owner, you want to under promise and over deliver because that's how you create repeat customers. So like seeing how the women took it that way is kind of sad to me. Because what that man is saying is that he's just not going to do what a lot of guys do is to talk you to death. So he's just going to say, hey, I know I can do more, but I'm not going to tell a woman that this is my maximum capacity because then she's going to expect me to perform at my maximum capacity 24/7, 365. And when I don't, she's going to feel slighted or that there's something wrong. And I'm going to be punished or admonished for that. That's all he's saying. So again, if you guys are ever in business, your number one goal should be to under promise and over deliver. Like that is
you making a great argument for that. But I think in context it's different because he said, yo, I ain't shit. I like it there. I like for you to think that I'm not shit because I like to I want to over deliver. Which I think he was joking to a degree.
Of course.
Like, I think he's a comedian. I thought it was funny. But in reality, some guys do that, you know, because they just kind of don't want to do much.
But so that's what I
want you to.
That's the point. He's cool with you thinking I'm not shit. I present myself to you as not being shit. So then that way, when I get with you, you're like, oh, well, I mean, okay, well, he is actually shit. Like, he's not nowhere near as bad as that. Is great. That is a great position to have in a relationship, because now if the woman liked you when you were at your lowest form or your base form, she's going to be rewarded for one, choosing you. Then two, she gets to see what you're like when you're working at your, you know, level 1, 2, 3, all the way to 10. Like, that's a great idea for especially men in his position. Hey, shit, if you were single, I'll tell you, you do the same thing. Like, you can't come in there like, you know what I'm saying, you know, you don't drive car A on the first date. You drive, you know, maybe car D. Car D's still nice, but you're not showing up to a first date. You're not showing up to a first date driving something crazy when, you know, it's a first date.
So I think a situation like this, I think he's there's a couple things in there. I think he's talking about most of these women don't deserve the top of the top anyway. Most of them. I'm sorry, heifers. If you feel hit, then stay hit. I don't give a shit. Most of you heifers don't deserve that shit. Most of you don't. So why should I present it to you? And another thing, I'm not leading with my money. Why should I do that? Because now you're looking at me like a fucking trick. I know I like to hang out and get at lemon wings at Magic City, but doesn't mean I'm a goddamn trick. That's not what that means. And the thing he was talking about with a woman talking about everywhere, I think he's talking about all these women with a bunch of guy friends. And she knows every goddamn body. Everywhere they go, everybody's her goddamn friend. Well, that will be a problem for most men. Now, there's some men out there that's okay with his woman, his girlfriend, his wife, his significant other, his partner, having a male friend. I wouldn't be okay with shit like that. Ain't no way you're going to be able to influence my wife or my woman. Nope. No other male going to be able to influence. Your daddy barely going to have a say-so. So ain't no way a stranger, to me, is going to be able to influence a man. So that's what I see.
I was going to say, I think that the male version, I guess that's the male version, what he's saying, like, you know, keep the expectations low or whatever, as the female version of advice that I know that I've heard from, you know, older women who were married, and when you're about to get married, don't start something that you can't maintain, right? So I think that that's kind of the same advice. The issue, though, that I have from this perspective is that if it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. You're telling a woman, well, if she starts low, this guy said, I'm gonna start at the bottom of hell, right? That's where his standard is gonna be. And then a woman like him, then it's like, what's her problem? She see he ain't got ish, and she still gave him the time of day, right? So it's kind of like, see, she's choosing poorly. She's choosing bad because she has low standards. If she's choosing a guy where his standard of what he's showing her is low. So that's why I say, just in general across the board, is that everybody should have a certain baseline standard of anybody that they deal with, period. Don't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter where you're at financially. If you don't have a baseline standard of what it is that you expect from a partner, even if the person has money and they still treat you like ish, then that person is a no good person that just has money. You're not going to be happy in a relationship because they don't even meet your baseline standard of what you have. So I think a lot of times people are getting in situations based on what they're looking at the other person can give them, but not necessarily what they can give the other person. And in relationships, mostly all of that, it's about what you're doing for the other person. And when you have nothing to offer other than limited things that's superficial, like that stuff wear out quick. I know people who've been in relationships with people with money and they're miserable because they have nothing else to offer. So if you don't have your standard, you're going to end up you know, in a relationship with somebody with money and be miserable, or be with somebody broke and miserable. But the common denominator in both of those situations is the person that's choosing. So you have to elevate your standard of what that is, period.
Appreciate your perspectives. Thank you, Ms. Taken. To the super chats, and we'll go ahead and get into this. Klay Thompson, Megan Thee Stallion. I did that one already. The sophisticated jerk $10 says most people are victims in their stubbornness and bad decision making. And we also have Leonard Elnix, something to think about, $5. A lot of women are more worried about collect material experiences. The date shouldn't be more important than getting to know the person on the date. I want to thank everybody who has contributed to the platform. All I'm asking for you guys, hit that like button and share it to somebody. Let's go ahead and get into this Megan Thee Stallion and Klay Thompson split. Got a couple videos from TikTok of their perspectives, and we'll go ahead and react to it. Here we go.
I've been saw all of this coming. When this lady came out saying that the only reason they broke up was because he wanted to go public, but now all of a sudden he went public with Megan, flag on a play, flag on a motherfucking play. No, I'm not really surprised that this happened, because I feel like this is regular men for you, right? They say one thing to you and they do another thing with another woman. Okay. I'm more mad at y'all that was in the comments when this story came out. Y'all was delusional as fuck. Oh, she's just mad that he went back to black women. Oh, she's just mad because he don't like her. Oh, y'all need to just move on when stuff like this happen with men. Get a new one. And to me, I just felt like it was nothing wrong with her coming to us and telling us what happened. She was exposing a pattern. That's something that this man probably does quite often. He probably gets with women, lets them do all the girlfriend stuff, and then later on throws in a, oh, I'm not ready though for a commitment. After he done already been sleeping with you how long, getting whatever from you for how long. Do we believe her now? Do we believe her now? She wasn't just bitter. She was trying to expose a pattern that he is now displaying again. Like she just said, so you cheating, and now all of a sudden you got cold feet. After all these cooking videos, after me giving you probably the fucking Gawk 3000, now you have questions? That lady was exposing his pattern and we all ignored it. I think we owe her an apology.
All right. That's the first perspective out there on the internet. What do you guys think about what she had to say? And if you want to add your 2 cents.
Wait, real quick before somebody give a background on what actually happened, because I don't follow this, so I don't know what happened. I don't know who he is. I know who Meg Thee Stallion is, but I don't know who he is.
He's an NBA athlete that she was dating. He's very accomplished, champion multiple championships, and they've been dating, and people love that they were dating. The guys typically didn't really like it because, you know, we see Megan as a problematic woman. And she just exposed him in her IG story and said that he cheated and that he was getting cold feet about being monogamous. And that's what we got right now.
He cheated with Meg?
No, he's with Megan. They were together. She said that he cheated on her and that he also had cold feet about being monogamous.
Oh, okay.
So is she a victim?
No.
Or was that a decision? I want to hear what the ladies got to say, because last time.
Decision.
Yeah, I think it would depend
I like how
on
we
what
switched.
she
I
already
like how we
knew.
switched that shit up. I like how we switched that up. I know that's right,
I think
Shane.
it depends on what she already knew. If she knew that he had a history of cheating and she still thought that he was going to be monogamous, then absolutely that was on her. That's accountability.
The lady in the clip just cited his ex-girlfriend and what she said about him. Everybody knew what type of time Klay Thompson was on. Like, everybody knew. But again, free Tory Lanez. And 2, I guess that WAP ain't whopping no more, because Klay Thompson just turned her into the other weak, whack ass bitches that she raps about. Like, she is the person she's beefing with now. Every name she's called another female rapper or a dumb woman talk about yo nigga cheat, and if you with him and this is because of what you get because you trash. He just made her the punchline of all of her own jokes. Shout out to that nigga.
I'm torn between like obviously when you observe the situation, cheating on somebody who you have some sort of agreement with, even if it's handshake, is wrong. However, I don't feel that way in my soul. Like I don't feel like I don't know. Maybe like somewhere inside of me, it's like this should have never been a relationship anyway, and no matter how he got out of it, like I'm glad he out of it. And another part of me is like, or we see Megan as a hoe, and you was never supposed to have a good man regardless. So maybe that's why I feel like this type. Maybe that's how like I don't feel upset about this. But logically speaking, he shouldn't have did that. So I don't.
I just wish that she would have fought his ass. I feel like that would have.
Hey, well, shout out to Mont for showing that whole grace. Shout out to you, Mont.
Go ahead, Bo. Bo, I got the hand raised. Go ahead, Bo.
I'm confused. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't understand how Megan is the hoe. Like I don't know. Y'all might know something I don't. I just never knew her to be a hoe, but I also be staying out of celebrities' business. But also, are we saying that if someone has like this, why if a man specifically has been known to cheat, so that means that we're not gonna date him ever, right? Because they're not gonna change. They're just gonna always be a cheater.
No,
is that what you're saying?
That's like J-Lo. Like,
wait,
what has J-Lo substantiated in any relationship that she's
here you
had?
go. Watch this. No, that's not what we're saying, Bo. But what we're saying is this: if you're a snake owner and your snake has never bitten you, but you know that motherfucker's still a snake, you can't be surprised when he does. It's documented that Klay Thompson gets bitches and does this exact thing that he did to her. Like it's a large group of women who have came out and told the Klay Thompson story. This isn't new. So if a nigga is known for doing a thing and then you get with the nigga and he does that thing, you're the stupid one for thinking that, oh my God, I thought he would never do that same thing he did to the other 18 bitches to me.
But I'm saying, like, I get that, right? Because I've heard like some rumblings of like Klay Thompson's wild past or whatever, the parties and the women and all of that. Like I've heard a little bit of that. And I was concerned because I was like, girl, if you know that, why are you? Because what is it about him now that is telling you that he's going to be different? So like, was he doing something to show himself differently to her? Was he still having those wild parties? Like, what were the markers for this? And so then I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying, like, is that what we're saying? Because if you have this wild past, but eventually you like to settle down, do we still never trust you? So like, that's all I'm saying. Like, I'm not, that question was really not to be like combative. I wasn't insinuating anything. I was genuinely curious about
we didn't take it. I didn't take it that way. But again, look at what she is. Like, would anybody have been mad if somebody cheated on Lil Kim, Foxy Brown, J-Lo, or all of these other women who are known to just be, you know what I'm saying, female, we call them man eaters? Like, and then two, Meg is known to be a cheater herself. So like, no disrespect, but again, if you a street nigga and some street shit happen to you, I don't feel bad for you. If you a hoe and some hoe shit happen to you, I don't feel bad for you. Megan and Klay is the latter. She thought that he was gonna be the first non-street nigga she got with, and that he was gonna be on all that like L7 square shit, not knowing that, you know what I'm saying, that Klay Thompson at the end of the day is still him and is still more famous in a lot of circles than she is. So all that the money she has, she's probably the most financially secure woman he's dated. But at the end of the day, that's still Klay Thompson. 4-ring Klay Thompson. Going to the Hall of Fame, Klay Thompson. Like, he's Klay Thompson, and she's just Megan Thee Stallion. Like, I don't think that anything that happened between them, they got what they got. She got bags and cars. He got a really expensive watch. He fucked other bitches, and now she's mad. Like, so?
I think realistically, People do change, and maybe he was showing her some different things than what she heard. Like, for example, he went public with her, no problem, and they was doing a lot of things. So if he had a pattern of not going public, maybe that's like where she kind of was like, maybe I am different. So maybe it did seem like a little bait and switch of he's treating me like I'm different, and then was, oh shit, I'm not different. So I don't know.
Klay Thompson is, you Google Klay Thompson girlfriend and see how many different results you get. Klay Thompson go public with everybody. Like, one thing Klay Thompson gonna do is show up to the function with a bitch on his arm. If not, if at least just one. Like,
okay, I didn't know that.
He's just quiet. He ain't never been in no mess until he got with her. I don't think any of us have said Klay Thompson more than once in a day until we had this show today. And it's because of the girl he was with that, typical with, no, sorry, black women, but black women, when something go wrong in their relationship, they take it to the fucking internet. They don't want to keep that shit to themselves and hold the L. They want to go and villainize the nigga for doing what that she knew she should have known the nigga was gonna do. And in his not his defense, but Klay Thompson was dating non-black women a lot of the time. For the first public, one that he dated to be Megan Thee Stallion, I don't think that anybody else should have thought that there was going to be any other outcome other than this.
I think this just destroys the fantasy that most common women have. It's not a shock. I don't know extensively about Klay, but I just think that it's a fallacy that women believe that you're going to get a man of notoriety, whether you're famous yourself, whether you're regular, and you're going to be able to keep him all to yourself. I think that that's just foolishness. If you are with someone of prominence, cheating, Drake said it got the cars, the clothes, and the hoes. That's like the success package. It comes with it. So I don't even know why women get on the internet and like, oh my God, he cheated. Like, we know who he is. He's famous. That comes with it. You don't want to be cheated on. You probably want to get with someone who nobody knows, or maybe someone who's a little bit more simple. I just don't understand. It just always blows my mind. Like, there's so many men that would be with women and never cheat or never even break stride, but they don't like him. They don't like him. He doesn't have the appeal. It's interesting to me. I don't get it. So I don't feel bad for her.
Just look at it this way. For any of the ladies on the panel, would y'all feel bad for me if I went and dated like one of these hyena bitches in the comments, and then y'all saw me talking about how they did some hyena bitch shit to me? Like, would y'all feel bad for me knowing that I knew the bitches were the hyena bitches, but then when I get bit by the hyena bitches, would you feel bad? The answer is emphatically no. Why do you feel bad for her? Because she's the sisterhood, because y'all are women and y'all just want to take up y'all, it's like in your DNA to absolve black women of anything they do wrong or anything like, for any type of accountability? Or is it because you feel bad for her because she got cheated on? Even though she raps about taking other bitches' niggas, she raps about cheating, she raps about how good her vagina is and how good vagina niggas not going nowhere. But now, because it's, one of your role models, it's the ratchet Beyonce bitch. Now you guys want to, take up and go up in arms because Megan Thee Stallion got cheated on.
Question, Willie, how do you? Well, how would you feel if she cheated on Klay? How would you feel about what would you tell Klay?
I would tell him the same shit, nigga. You was dating Megan the fucking Stallion. Like, what did you expect? Like, these niggas get with these promiscuous ass women and expect fucking schoolgirls from them. That's ridiculous. So we would have told him the same shit. Actually, we probably would have been a lot more direct or mean about what we said to him. He's a man. So, we can roast a man for filth and y'all won't say shit. But, it's already going to be people mad because we're talking so bad about her. But if you get with a hoe, she does hoe shit, nigga, that's on you.
All right, speaking about people that are mad, let me go ahead and play this.
Behind the Megan Thee Stallion and Klay Thompson breakup to be somewhat poetic. So Megan Thee Stallion outed Klay Thompson and said that he was cheating, right? And before you red pill niggas say any fucking thing, don't, because I'm on y'all fucking head right now. Remember when Klay and Megan first got together, The red pill niggas was getting on here talking about, she ain't your girl, it's just your turn, and all of that stuff, demeaning Megan Thee Stallion, talking about her character, acting like she was the one to watch out for in the relationship, like, who want to be with a Megan Thee Stallion? The men were getting on here acting like Klay Thompson was the prize, right? And that's because they want to fuck Klay, but that's for a different video for a different day. This just proves that a good man is still worse than the average woman, or even the women that y'all think are below average. Because y'all was up here, you red pill motherfuckers was up here trying to act like Megan Thee Stallion was a below average woman, which is laughable on any level, physically, mentally, financially, on whatever fucking level. Megan Thee Stallion is anything but average or below average. You know what I'm saying? Like, she is fucking way higher than average, right? But her character is that of an average woman. I think Megan Thee Stallion's character is that of an average woman. That is what I would expect from an average woman, the way that Megan Thee Stallion acts. And that's no slight to Megan Thee Stallion, and that's no knock on the average woman. I think that the average woman has a shit ton of integrity, and the average man, or in this case, the way above average man, the high value man, still has far less integrity, still has far worse character than the average woman. So when we say that, the best man is an average woman, and I told y'all before, I don't even think that that's true. This is what I'm talking about. The average man, a high value man isn't even as good as an average woman. A high value man will still abuse. He will still cheat. He will still fuck it up. With all the money in the world, with all the resources in the world, with all the opportunities in the world to do the right thing, he will somehow find a way to do the wrong thing. That is the moral of the story.
All right, before y'all say anything, Willie, take the person out of it.
Nope.
Speak about what he said, and if you agree or disagree.
If you take the person out of it, that takes away from his entire point. Because again, you got a stay-at-home dad that is an average woman talking about above average men treating average women poorly. Like that has to be spoken to. That we can't get past that. But to the overarching point, no, he's wrong as shit. Because again, men and women aren't equal at all. Nothing about us is equal in a relationship. No, nothing is equal about us as far as when it comes to us having sex. So again, like, it's just no point if like we can't explain about the person talking about it. Because again, a stay-at-home dad would have this type of viewpoint because he has to be pro-women. His livelihood depends on it. Like, Jesus Christ. I'm just glad his fingernail's not painted today.
Yeah,
if he's basing it off,
look here, shout out to my favorite character that's on YouTube, the guy he looks up to the most. I know mine's about to speak highly of the brother.
Hey, real quick, Hank, I just want you to know we see you. Oh, whatever you're going through, this got you eating a bag of black jelly beans. You can call me, my brother.
That's crazy.
Okay. You can call me. I'm here.
Man.
Wow.
You can kiss my grits.
No, you eat black potatoes. It's probably rice. It's like probably dry rice or some shit. I'm cool.
God damn. Why you gotta put my business out there like that?
Oh,
nigga, you put it on the screen. I thought those was M&Ms, and then you said they was black jelly beans. I was like, oh, this nigga is depressed. That's why we ain't seen you in a couple weeks. You know how like, damn, I got a craving for black liquor.
I'm going through it. My wife is taking me through that. She feeds me black jelly beans.
You over there eating black leather, like in bead form. That's crazy, bro. But I hope you get better, man. Whatever you need, just call me.
Hey, man, it's better than what Mistaken was calling me, so I guess I can accept that.
True.
All right, go ahead. Mont, you there? You were showing out with technology today, brother. Okay, go ahead.
No, what I was about to say was, if he's basing integrity off of whether likelihood of cheating or not, then I guess maybe he's right. I think the average woman is probably less likely to cheat than a professional athlete. Even though I wouldn't necessarily base it solely off of that, but also that would mean that the average man has more integrity than a high value man. If that's what he's saying, I think the average man is less likely to cheat than somebody of his stature. So yeah, if that's what he's basing it off, sure. But I wouldn't necessarily fully base it off of that. But
All right. Anybody else want to speak to what the public offender had to say?
JR go talk about, boy, take the person, because you knew what time it was, JR.
I knew she was going to attack first.
You knew.
So I am a public offender listener for sure. He makes some good points sometimes to me, but I will say when he gets on that the best man is worse than the average woman, that's where it gets a little muddy for me, because I'm like, I guess maybe I can see why he says it, but I still wouldn't say that. Mostly just because the average man can't afford to be like a Klay Thompson. No way. They can't afford to act like that. They can't afford to cheat, because let me tell you something. If you cheat on me, you must got a bag I don't know about, and I'm finna spend every penny of it if you think you finna cheat on me. Most of the average men cannot afford to do that. They can't afford multiple women. So, like, I get it. Like, the way that society is structured, capitalism, patriarchy, whatever, it makes all of us act a certain way. But I still would not say, I don't like when he says the average man is worse than, the average man is worse than like the worst woman or something like that. Whatever he says, I still wouldn't agree with that.
And what he's basing it off is interesting, because men and women are just simply different. I think women are much more likely to lie about certain other things than men are likely to lie about. Like, a woman is more likely to lie about her body count, right? Or, something like that. A woman is more. I think a woman is more likely to lie about a sexual crime, right? So it just depends on what are we talking about.
So are we saying that a man's economical position is what entitles him to debauchery?
No.
That's what your brother is saying.
What we are saying is a man's financial level on average comes with certain things being more likely to happen. Niggas with money are more likely to get bitches. That's what we're saying.
Now that's understandable. I think I heard both say the average man can't afford to cheat, and so I guess that's where it populated.
Vagina is not expensive, so I think the average man can afford a couple $100.
Shut up, Willie. So here's the thing. I personally,
with the price of vagina is like $200-$300. It's not 40 because of inflation. But
Willie,
again, if the average nigga make 52,000 every other month, he can peel off $200-$300 to cheat if he wanted to. I just don't think that average niggas are as likely to cheat, because what the time that it takes, and those niggas got to work 40-50 hours a week. So when they come home, they cheating themselves if they go cheat when they could just be asleep.
So the reason why I say that is because if you cheat on me, if you do something that for me compromises like your character and your integrity, I lose a lot of respect for you. And so at that point, you become a dollar sign, because I don't have no respect for you at that point. Like, as comfortable as possible in my life. I will because the last dude that did that when I was in my 20s, I don't experience that a lot. He started my business for me. I took his credit cards and swiped it up. Because if you think you finna do that to me, then now all you are is whatever you can buy me. Because you've lost all value to me. And now you're just gonna be some money.
All right. So what I heard you say, bro, and that damn. That's some savagery that you exemplified at that time. This is what I hear when these conversations like arise, I think there's too many women that mix desire, passion, and then intentionality. And what I mean by that is I don't think it's a money thing, because you can have a guy who don't necessarily make a lot of money, but he's on the higher level of desirability. He may be the height, he may be the color, he may be the build. So his money at that point is not necessarily relevant, because he can still attract most women just off the strength of his biology, right? And what I don't know, again, not a woman at all, so I always found it confusing. Just like you hear the men, when we talk about women, we don't talk about their beauty necessarily. We talk about how they show up in the world. It's irrelevant how attractive she is. If her exposure level to certain things is vast, most dudes are already like, okay, she belongs in this bracket. She's too high risk, regardless of how she looks. But it seems like women don't do that. It seems like with women, they want to take the highest level of desirability, whether that's money, attraction, the vibes, the butterflies, whatever the hell. And then they want to put that man in a relationship that I would just say, I think that they're blending two things that don't belong together. It's like taking a lion and putting them in a backyard. Certain people don't belong in certain brackets. And so where does the conversations start to happen where we're teaching young girls or women alike that you need to know what you're really after? If you want a relationship, you probably want to pick someone who's low maintenance, is what I'll say. Because the guy that does all the things for you and in your, hearts of hearts, probably not going to be him, more than likely. That's why I don't like Tyler Perry movies. Because every time the dude is always smooth. He's a doctor. He makes a lot of money. His jawline is all strong. He's manicured. And you're like, where these dudes be at? That's not real. But that's what it seems like most women are aspiring to have. He's going to be Superman, and he's going to want me. Then he's going to buy me flowers. Then he's going to always know what to say. No. You need to go get Charles at the plant or Bobo at UPS. And if that man is sane and decent, build a relationship with him. What is wrong with that?
God damn, can they have better names though? Like, I get it. My nigga can have a little patch to say his name right there, but fuck Charles and Bobo. God damn, can I get like a Dre or like I don't fucking know.
I was gonna say to speak to what you were saying, because you were saying that when we have these conversations, it's about one thing when it should be about the other. But for me, I think a lot of times when we have these conversations, and I just wrote it down because I didn't want to lose my thought process, is that I think the bigger point, the point that's being missed in these conversations is that a lot of times the focus tend to turn on, well, men and women are different when we're having these conversations around cheating, right? But that isn't the issue. The sex, in terms of men and women, I'm talking about when I say sex, the sex is not the main issue. The main issue is character. And I think a lot of times we're talking about it, trying to say, well, men can get away with it, especially if, they have money, or, men are men, things like that. But character has no sex. So if you were a cheater with a whole lot of money and a cheater with no money at all, the bottom line is that your character is you can't be trusted to be in a relationship. And that is the same situation for a woman if she cheats, right? Because that is the bigger issue. So a lot of times when we're talking about foundations of relationships, foundations in a marriage, one of those things are trust, right? Honesty, sticking to what you say you're going to do. If you're presenting that you want to be married, automatically that kind of means that you're excluding all others. But then you get in these situations where you're claiming we're in a monogamous relationship and then you're not moving in that direction. That's the real issue. You can't excuse it by saying, well, because he has more money, he has more options, so he doesn't really have to do that. He still is a man with poor character. And that is the issue. Period.
I don't think that's what maybe I didn't hear that, but I don't think that's what we're saying. Your points are valid. I think, and I said it moments ago, when men are vetting women, we vet them in a certain bracket. So, simple example. Typically, most men know that if I'm going to date this woman being a super curvaceous, maybe highly attractive individual, right? And then let's just pair and say that she's someone who does not mind showcasing these things online. That dude is not going to expect that woman to stop taking pictures and to stop wearing provocative crap. It would be stupid, but that's not what women do. Generally speaking, they go get the guy who showcases, not character, what just is his life, and then expect him to become someone completely different over the strength of the fact that we decided to share in a relationship. To me, it's kind of counterproductive. It's confusing. If you want someone who exemplifies those, I want character. I love the word, but I don't know if a better word to insert. Why not find a relational guy? Most of the time, relational guys have a look, they have a vernacular, they have a certain energy, but for whatever reason, they don't populate. And it'd be the same for us when we're talking to men. Men will tell other men, yo, she ain't the one you take to moms. We know that, but it's like y'all don't. You want the flash and the dash. I'm not saying you, I'm saying in general. And then you want to put him in a lifestyle that requires high character, high discipline, as Shan said earlier. And I'm like, why not just go get that guy? But then you hear women say, well, I don't want to settle. I don't want to sell myself short. If the point of finding someone of quality is there, how are you selling yourself short if you're accomplishing the goal? And I'll land.
We can't say that character is the same for men and women.
I need to call Cap real quick. Sorry, Willie.
Right.
Because literally Thursday, after in the back chat, after the live had ended, we literally had a conversation about a man that met me wearing a certain thing, and then a year or two later wanting me to not wear the thing. Y'all do that. Also, men go, shut up, Willie. Men go after women who look a certain way and they try to fit them into the wife role. They want to humble them. Yeah, they do. They want a certain look. They want you to look like a baddie, but they want you to have wife-like characteristics. Like they want to mold you into a wife, humble you into a wife. Like men actually will do that. I don't know at what scale, but it does happen for sure.
That shit doesn't happen a lot. Niggas get with women and then tell y'all, hey, cool, yeah, when you were single, have your titties out. Once you represent me, put them big motherfuckers up. Like you can't be swinging and jangling titties and ass
when you're in a relationship.
Like when you were single, that was cool. You're in a relationship now, so we don't try to humble you into being a wife. We don't try to mold you into being a wife. We expect you to perform in the capacity in which you are serving, which is our woman. So as our woman, you can't be outside with your titties out with the nipples ring shit showing. You can't be outside wearing, your G-string drawers and a sundress walking past a bunch of niggas. There's certain things you just can't do in a relationship with men who respect themselves and require you to respect your position in his life. Nobody's trying to humble y'all by telling you can't stop dressing like a single woman. That's crazy.
That's not that. I even said that is not out of the realm of what's fair. What's unfair is that you do not set those expectations when you get in that relationship. Hey, I know you like this dress, but only wear that with me. Like I'm cool. Set expectations early. Don't let 2 years pass and be like, where you going with that on? Bitch,
that's common sense. One, this is why, because this is how I know clearly now y'all just don't know men. Men get more territorial as a relationship progresses, not less. So the more we like you, the more territorial we get. And then 2, it should be common sense. You can't dress like you were single when you're in a relationship. The same way it should be common sense that once I get him, I can't fuck other bitches. Like, it's common sense, right? You didn't have to tell me not to go fuck other hoes. You didn't have to tell me to not spend money on other women while we going out eating shit. So like, it's certain things should be common sense to women with common sense. But like earlier, y'all said wait, it's not, because again, when you're single, you're advertised. That's why y'all dress like that. Like, it's because
the dress is so long and it covers everything.
I'm going to explain to you how. You don't have to have on tight clothes to be revealing. That's one of the things, especially unless you're a white woman, because they're typically not curvaceous. So like, for them, they have to, but for some of y'all who are blessed up top and down bottom, y'all can wear anything, and y'all can wear sweatpants and that shit can look crazy. Or you can have on a hoodie that's too small and like you got one big titty. Like, y'all can have stuff that's still gonna show your body type, even if it's not meant to do so. So us being territorial, that's us. We want to protect our shit. We're territorial about everything we're responsible for. That's why you don't have people in your home. You don't let people drive your car. You don't let people use your phone. Like, because you're territorial about these things, but you want to protect them. Us talking about you covering up your shit, and Buddy saying 2 years later the nigga didn't like you enough until then. That's when he decided to tell you, like, hey, cover them titties up. Like, shouldn't everybody know what your tattoo look like when we go to church today, or when we go to this dinner, or when we go to my friend's house? That's all he was saying. And that's a sign of protection for him. It's not because he's scared of losing you. It's not, though, well, you know what, man, if somebody else sees them big ass titties, I'm just gonna have to sit here and I'm not gonna have a girlfriend because she's gonna take my girl. That's not what the fuck we're thinking. We're thinking that those titties are mine and I don't want nobody else to play with them. When it comes to women, men are only children. We don't like to share.
In fairness to Bo, right. I think that her point is still valid. Of like, in a few years, you mean you ain't never had a problem with the outfit until today? Because I know me.
He didn't care until then.
Maybe, but that's not really reasonable, because I know me, that's early on. Like, you're going to know that, like, when I have an issue with an outfit, it goes off. Like, it's getting changed. So we don't have to address that later on. And, you know, I don't know, because some guys do be chilling and they be lax for a little bit and then they switch up. You know, there's certain guys who be like, I don't care how my girl dressed. Yeah, all right, nigga. You say that now.
Until he like her.
Yeah.
Like, I promise you, I've never in my life gave a fuck about what a girl wore that I was just fucking. Ever. Didn't care. Everybody else is saying that everybody else talking about they want to suck a fart out your ass. That's cool. I get to do it when I go home. I've never given a fuck about what she wore. But when she represented me and my last name, like when she represented me in spaces, like when people knew she was mine, that's when that shit matters, because you represent me when I'm not with you. So if you going out with your titties and I'm not around, niggas are gonna think that I'm tolerating that shit. And we all, as men, know we don't respect men who let their women dress like that.
But Willie, can I ask you a question? Because you just brought up the point about the women being too close to hyenas, you can't tell the difference and all that kind of
hoes.
Holes or whatever. So I guess the question is, can you see how confusing that can end up being with certain women? If you're like, I'm the type, I don't like, not you personally, but I mean men in general, that I like women to dress modest. I don't like this, I don't like that about a woman. Then you select a woman that's too close to the holes. You're okay with her dressing like that because you're not necessarily invested in this moment. But then you end up really liking her, and now you're flipping the script. So for her, that's confusing. There's messaging that this is what you do like. Now all of a sudden you're trying to change it. So now is he trying to control me, right? So that's where those stair steps end up leading. And women, some women will get confused by the behavior of the man.
The only women who get confused in situations are the ones that are terrible communicators and don't leave with curiosity. If a man switches up in a relationship and you don't ask him why he switched up or what changed, that's your fault.
I guess I'll give some. Go ahead.
Is she the terrible communicator, or is he? Because like what Mott was saying, a fair point was the fact that it was acceptable. So why am I going to ask questions in that moment?
It's not acceptable now.
2 2 years and that's been okay. And now all of a sudden you're flipping the script. So wouldn't you initiate like, well, things change?
That's not how that works. Bo, we'll use Bo's situation. Bo's wearing this same dress with her ass out for, she got some pants with the ass cut out. She been wearing them. He ain't said shit about it. Then you go sit down. Then for a while, after a while, he says, you know what? I don't want you wearing your ass out no more when we go to the Houston rodeo. Right? Bo is supposed to ask why, because he knows why. And it should be common sense as to why he doesn't want her to wear it. But since it's not, and she asked, the only time that it would be poor communication on his part is if she asked and he was like, I don't know, I just can't explain it. Or I don't know, I just don't want you to. Or he hit her with one of my favorites because I said so. Like, then it's a communication issue. But if something changes, it's on you to figure out why it changed. The same way it's on for a man to figure out why his wife used to come home and give him head 2 or 3 times a week, but now he got to ask for it. You should be asking because you're the one who doesn't have the information. She knows why she's not sucking his dick anymore. He doesn't, so he's the one that needs to go ask. Like,
to be fair, you like what you said was like, I don't want you wearing that, would deserve a question. But where you going with that on? I think that's a joke. If you say, I don't want you wearing that, I'm uncomfortable with you wearing it, that's fair. That is a good, like, I can get that. Let me ask why. But to look at me like that, like to look at me and be like, where you think you're going with that on? Move up. Gonna go to the store.
I think to give some maybe some expansion to what y'all saying, because I listened to all y'all points. Gotta hold the women accountable, but also the men. Mont, Willie, myself, Hink, JR, I believe we may be the types of guys who have no problem asserting ourselves a certain way. So we set a tone when we meet you. But the assumption a lot of times is that all men are like this, and they're not. Most men are always operating in an energy of loss and maybe apprehension. So they don't assert themselves until later. And I'm not saying that that's y'all fault as women. I'm saying that I think to say, well, set the tone up front so I know who I'm dealing with, that's to assume that he's comfortable with that. Most men are not like that. Most men have to arrive at the understanding of what he can and cannot dictate. And I'm not saying that that's right or wrong, but I do understand the nature. See, I don't got no problem being like, this is how I move. But at the same time, a lot of women know being around me, oh, he's not one to really, play with like that. So I got to come correct. Most dudes are not like that. Most dudes are already walking into in a situation where they are taught to placate to the woman's feelings. So he may feel uncomfortable about whatever you're walking around with, but doesn't feel like he has the authority to state anything around it at this particular point. I don't know if it has so much to do with how much he likes you as much as it is where he feels he is within your world. Because I can promise you, he's probably told a woman something and she probably was like, well, who are you? Or we ain't on that type of time, or whatever it may be. So it's created an imbalance of his own, masculinity or his assertive nature. I'd have to say the men need to do better. They need to be comfortable with the fact that, you may get a little pushback. And if she's not mature enough to be able to deal with what you're requesting from her, then kick that heifer to the curb, as my boy Hink would probably say, and keep it moving.
That was, I guess my point was the fact that most men that I know operate like that, like what Mont was saying. From day one, like, nah, like, I don't like this. You know what I'm saying? You can't dress like that around me. So I was speaking from that perspective, and that's why I was confused, because that would have never worked with my husband, even though he met me. You know what I'm saying? I was young. I was doing that same thing, dressing a certain way. But when it was like coming to a point where I'm feeling you, kind of like, oh no, that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, because at one time.
So I have to get in here.
Go ahead, Nani.
So ignorance is bliss until it comes to accountability. I don't know why we're sitting here pretending like all women don't know that that men don't want their woman showing their tatas out in public. That's, if you are a woman that is seeking to be in a long-term relationship and you've observed this man, and we can genuinely say that most men don't want their women advertising their body parts, then why are we pretending that this is not something that should not catch ourselves as women? So if I'm the type of woman and I'm doing my own thing, so I'm not for one, I'm not the type of woman to advertise that way. But let's show like a woman who advertises that way. Okay, she walks that way, she dresses that way, da 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 da. He says, hey, let's be in a relationship, monogamous. Yet she turns around and continues in the same type of single woman pattern of behavior. That should be a red flag to her mind. Say like, oh, maybe this guy just wants to blow my back out and then, keep it pushing. She doesn't bring it to his attention. She's not made aware of it because ignorance is bliss until accountability plays a part in it. So when he comes around and he's like, hey, you know what? Stop dressing that way. She's going to bite back and be like, well, you met me like this. No, if he's not going to have the accountability of standard, then me as a woman, knowing that I want and desire marriage or a long-term relationship, I'm going to have my own expectation of his expectation of a man. I'm going to come back and I'm going to say, okay, if you're going to continue to allow me to dress and act like a single woman in public and you're not going to have an issue with it, well, then we're not going to be an issue. But I hear what you guys are saying.
That's unrealistic.
I hear what you're saying, but we can't sit here and think like we're all women walking around like airheads.
Well, Naomi, we can't.
No, but what I'm saying where it's unrealistic, especially like, okay, so again, I work in high school, in a high school setting. So I'm seeing
those are youth. No, let's not talk about youth. Let's talk about
hold on, because it's general.
Not high schoolers. Let's not talk about high schoolers. Listen, I was a high school teacher. It's a completely different area and place and space.
So you see women, right? High school students. You see mothers.
Women.
Hold on, Naomi, you're cutting her off while she's trying to talk.
You see their mothers coming in. The mothers are dressed just like their daughters. So you have the adults. So when girls, what I would say, are groomed in terms of dressing provocative, right? So that was what I was getting at. So you have girls that are groomed or dressing provocative. Then you come in, you see their mothers are dressed the same way, which they're saying that this is okay. So they are dressing like this in mass, just in general. Every generation have the way that they dress. Back in the day, men used to wear the bell bottoms that with tight pants, right? So this is this generation of horror culture in terms of dress. So my thing is to expect a woman who have not been conditioned to dress a certain way, and this is the style of dress. Dudes are okay with it. I've seen dudes with their women straight up dressed like that, where I'm doing a whole take like, yo, you okay with that? That to think that when a man switch up after 2 years of being with them, you met me like this, I've been with you for 2 years, and now you're switching up, and now she's supposed to know that that's the way she's supposed to dress. That to me is unrealistic. That's the part that I'm saying. You know that because you said you carry yourself, you don't even dress like that on a regular, right? So your standard is going to be very different than somebody in an environment where that is acceptable, and you see the men choosing women like that. That's all I'm saying. That's where I say it's unrealistic. And I see
this is my biggest issue is that I hear what you're saying as far as only being, let's say, aware to a certain proximity of education. But majority of young adults, because I was a high school teacher, majority of young adults, who they're looking up to comes into comparison of where they want to go in life. Now, depending on the young adult and where they're at in their life, once they go to college or they get out of there, I don't know why we're allowing young women or young men. And initially this conversation was about people in our 30s and 40s, late 20s. Why are we allowing them to continue to say, well, my mama taught me how to do this, as if they haven't been exposed I didn't have parents, but I know I'm not going to go dress like a hoe if I hear a whole bunch of other men saying they don't like that women dress that way. Why would I do that? Not to mention, why would I sit here and allow somebody else from outside tell me how I should be in my relationship? I understand what you're saying about like a switch up, although now we're talking to the ability to communicate. Like that does it makes no sense to me if I know, because most women, even young adults between the ages of like 18 to 24, know that their man, who is going to be their man, does not want her to get her back blown out by another man. And we're making it very simple to where now I know that he does not want me to dress a certain way. Why are we sitting here pretending like as a woman I should just not have a question on him allowing me to still look and act single? That makes no sense to me.
Naomi, I agree with what you're saying. It makes sense, right? Like we think it's common sense, but like think about, I be seeing guys in the gym and they girls be half naked in the gym, tights, all this type of stuff, right? And you mean to tell me you let your girl do this for 2 years and all of a sudden you expressing to her, oh, I kind of got a problem with that. It's reasonable as a woman to get a little bit confused, and you can say as the leader of your relationship, you know what? I apologize. I should have said this earlier, but maybe I didn't know that I felt this way. Maybe I had struggled on actually saying it. But these girls think it's okay to dress a certain way at the gym. I be seeing niggas with their girls, and I be like, you niggas is crazy, right? Like, hell no, you gonna put a big t-shirt on, you gonna come work out in this gym with me. We not advertising, we not doing none of that. But guys be doing that, so I understand how, if this is the new status quo that everybody can dress like this, how they can get confused. I get it.
Then you know what, in that same sense, if that is a scenario, then I can understand where the confusion can come into play. And I agree with what True was saying, what you had said about now it's on the responsibility of the man to say, hey, I have this standard and now I need you to abide by it. But then so in that same sense, if we're now flipping it back on the man, the way that you guys are saying, so now we're going to flip it back on him and his lack of expectations of the desire that he desired of what he wanted. So then how would you now have that same level of, with that now new desire of expectation and her being upset, then now you're in a whole nother place and space of her being angry, but then you turn around and leave her, because we hear about this all the time on social media. Like a man now has an expectation, because we hear women fighting about it all the time. You know, a man now has an expectation, and she's like, nope, you're not going to do this. I'm not going to be controlled. And then boom, he just drops her like a bad habit. So now how do you bring that? Because I can tell you right now, there are not a lot of men who are soft-spoken in their manner of communication with effectiveness the way that you guys are, generally by majority.
So if I could just say, I think that we have taken this to the extreme of saying that a woman is dressed like a hoe and her man don't like. Of course, no man likes when his woman is dressed like a hoe. Mini skirts and damn near all of her titties out. No woman of substance is dressing like that. And we are not talking about hoes who are just trying to be a hoe in their relationship. Literally, it's just men have a problem with maxi dresses, certain ones. I'm talking about just from here down to the floor. You can't even see my feet. Women are wearing those types of dresses, but it is because of the top of it. And it is not because it is a problem for another woman, but because I got big old boobs and a big old ass. There's the problem. But I also am not about to wear shirts necessarily up to my neck because I got big boobs and I don't want to look like I got boobs long as poplar. I'm not going to look unattractive, so I wear certain things, and sometimes that comes with a low neck cut. women who are curvy have to wear certain things so that when you have a big chest, it makes you look big. And so to minimize that, you wear certain things. And so sometimes men are uncomfortable with it. And I get that. And I will just wear something higher up, but definitely not up to my neck. So like, there are adjustments, but every woman who wears something that a man does not like is not dressing like a hoe. And we have to stop using these extremes when we're talking about this. Like, it's like we have conversations with the things that are in our heads and not allowing anything else to exist. So something can be very innocent, and something is not necessarily like inappropriate, but a man is not comfortable with it. And then a conversation can be had if the man just verbalizes it to their woman in a way that she can understand. Because talking about where you going with that, every woman is not going to receive that the same. Because I thought that he was just joking. Because I'm like, bro, you know how many times I wore these dresses? I got 1,000 of these things waiting for me in the summertime. I'm gonna wear one tomorrow. So I'm just like, if you say I'm uncomfortable with that, I'm like, okay, now I have a real concern. Why? Tell me more. But it's the way they communicate. And also you have to understand that women want to dress the way they want to dress. I am mostly a modest dressing person. I don't have ass out. I don't have just, boobs hanging. It's just not what I do. So we have to be more realistic and let other things exist in our minds other than like up to here or hoe. Like it's a lot of in between.
So what's the purpose of a woman who's in a relationship to wear some shit like that? What's the purpose for that? Other than you trying to get another man's attention. So now I got to evaluate you and myself. Because you showing off because you looking for the attention of another man. This is the reason why you wearing these revealing type outfits. Yeah, that's a problem for me. My wife can't go to no beach and wear a thong. The fuck you want to show your cheeks for? What man is you trying to get your attention? Are you trying to get attention of another man? Why are you wearing your dress? You got side boobs are showing. What's the hell's going on? Now I got to look at myself. Why am I allowing this to happen? When I seen her start to get dressed, what the hell is we wearing? I'm not going to embarrass you while you're out. I'm going to bring it to your attention before you step out that goddamn door. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to wait until she walks outside. No, I'm not. And I see a picture. Bullshit. What are you doing? And if you want to wear that, it's obvious there's another man out there attention you want, and it's not mine. So I got to release your ass back to the goddamn street, heifer. You don't belong to me no more. You belong to the world.
So, Hank, do you think it is a man's responsibility to project that standard on who he's dealing with?
Hell yeah.
That's my point. I agree with you. And I think, Mont said that too. So what I'm saying is if there is a culture of women that are dressing seductive, and we can't say that that's not true. We see it all over TV. Each generation, it looked different in terms of what sexiness was. But women have always been used to sell products when they're in sexy clothes of whatever that generation is. So the sexy thing and dressing like that, I think is the norm for whatever generation you're in. I just think now in this generation that we're currently in, I don't know if it can go any lower, right? in terms of what's acceptable and not acceptable. And because I've seen both where fathers are in the home or have relationship with their child and allow them to wear certain things. I see it every day. Kids coming in with belly shirt, the girls coming in with belly shirts. The fact that the school feel like they can't say anything, they don't, enforce the dress code because so many kids are doing it that they're like, we got bigger fish to fry. Like literally, like I got into it with a student on a fire drill because her whole back, stomach, to the point where I saw her underwear, that I'm getting in a back and forth with her about covering up. I've seen where parents are at meetings and the dads are there and the kids are dressed like that. So I'm not exaggerating when I'm saying that they don't know the right from the wrong. Even when you're talking about somebody in their 30s, my daughter, she's in her 30s. This started when she was in high school. So if you have generation after generation of kids that are dressing like this, to think that they're going to know to do better when they're in a relationship, when all of the relationships that they've been in, that has been an acceptable standard. They don't have a dad that's telling them, no, you're not dressing like that. The mama is looking the same way. And then to say that it's supposed to be common sense, like that doesn't make sense to me. And that goes to the same thing with even men not doing certain things because they're not taught.
But I'm not going to sit there.
Go ahead. I'm
We
sorry.
got a delay. We got a delay. I'm sorry. Go ahead. We got a delay.
Okay.
So go ahead.
I was just saying, so at that point, it is for the men who has a standard of saying that they don't want their women to look like that. Then they have to set that standard from day one. Don't even give them the opportunity to dress like that when they're with you. That's all I was getting at. As a man, you set that standard.
So, well, I'm getting kind of confused. Now we going back to these goddamn kids. That's something totally different with the kids. If there's a father life and he's allowed it, then he's okay with raising a little hoe. And ain't nothing we could do about it. And we know you know how I feel about these hoes. Lie to these hoes. Don't respect these hoes. Take advantage of these hoes. Do what you must with a hoe. I can care less about a hoe. But I'm talking about a grown woman. Yeah, I'm not gonna give you a pass. How about you should know better? Yeah, you should know better. You already know you wearing some revealing outfits. You're looking at yourself in the mirror. You probably took about 4 or 5 selfies before you even walk out the goddamn door. So you know you're doing something a little risque. You know you're doing that. Now, it's all about if I'm with somebody, are they gonna allow me to get away with it? Now, if that man's gonna be a weak man and just say nothing but, oh, baby, you look cute. Yeah, you should look cute. She should look cute for you, not for the world, not for every man's out there. I'm not fattening up the frogs for these snakes to eat. I'm not doing that. That's not what I'm doing that for. My wife's gonna have some sexy clothes. It's be for the bedroom and me and her only. It's not for Willie. It's not for Truth. It's not for no other man. It's not. And if that's what she's gonna do it, and as a man, if I'm allowing it to happen, I'm a weak ass man, and I gotta accept that. So if you call me weak, I gotta accept that. Because I'm weak for allowing it to go down.
Because I know people really don't believe me and they think that because I'm reading in the chats that I'm trying to make this up to make a point. Just go on Instagram and type in prom dresses. See all I'm saying is see what they have on.
Yeah, I've seen a couple this weekend.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not exaggerating at all. This has become this generation's norm, and you can't nobody check me. And I'm telling you, I see it. And when you're saying that it's a grown women, these girls grow up to become grown women. If nobody steps in to direct them a certain way, then they're going to think it's okay until somebody checks them. That's all I'm saying. I'm not making up excuses. I'm just pointing out facts because I see it on a regular.
Yeah, so why I was confused when we got to talking about the kids. Yeah, I don't want to get into them kids. That's some more shit. Like you said, if a father's at the damn meeting where he's there and he's seeing this, well, he's a sorry ass father.
Agreed.
To me, he's a sorry father for allowing that to go down because you know they're gonna sexualize your daughter once they walk through. Unfortunately, you got some teachers that could possibly sexualize your daughters, men and women. There's some women that like women out here. I know y'all don't think that's the case, but they could be doing them kids, and that's dangerous. That's very dangerous. So hell no. I would not tolerate my daughter to be going to school like that. Now, if she found a way to sneak it out, go to a friend and have a friend deliver, I can't do it. But once I find out, we're going to address this. And then you have to reevaluate her friends. You don't need to be hanging about this stuff because, first of all, she's influencing you already because you're weak-minded, allowing her to convince you it's okay to wear this dress. And you know I don't tolerate that bullshit.
It's crazy that we thought that Klay was going to be faithful to Megan when he cheated on Coco Jones too. Like,
damn, god damn.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what. I don't think any. I think everybody.
Nice looking woman. Coco was a nice looking woman.
And yeah, Megan didn't have a chance.
Damn.
I don't know what to say. Shit, I dawned on me that he dated her too. It's like, well, shit, damn. You cheat on Coco Jones.
He's got a nice roster of women, man. I mean, so it's look, him and Megan are pretty much one of the same. They just play two different sports. That's it. She brag and talk about what she like to do, and you know, and you know, we know she's act on it. You see how she did Troy Lanez with that situation. He was messing with another girl, but his girlfriend's friend. You know, they all sleeping together, whether they want to agree with it or not.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead, Bo.
Guys, a question. What is considered for a man in a relationship? What is considered inappropriate? What are these hoe clothes that y'all keep referring to?
Whatever him and his woman, like him and his bros decide, or men believe in you in like totality. I think that every man up here would believe that a woman shouldn't be out with her ass out. That's a man. That's hoe shit. Shouldn't be out with her titties overtly out. That's hoe shit. Shouldn't be twerking and shaking her ass. That's hoe shit. Wearing dresses that when she does twerk, her entire ass comes out and she's got to spend the rest of the night pulling it down. That's hoe shit. Like, if my mom told me something pretty cool. She said, if you have to explain what hoe shit is to a woman, it's because she's a hoe. That's why. Because a lot of times women, when they ask these questions, they want to ask like what it is that what can I do that will what hoe shit do I know is hoe shit can I do that you're not gonna say I can't do, so I can still then that way blame you for not telling me that was hoe shit. Like, y'all know what hoe shit is. Hoe shit just ain't running around here sucking 3 or 4 dicks a day. That's not it. That's the hoe in action.
No, I know that.
The way you carry yourself.
I don't like what you just described is what I know to be hoe shit, right? Like the whole attire.
Yeah.
What
supporting hoe shit, like encouraging or identifying, aligning with hoes is hoe shit. If you support a girl that you know is a hoe doing hoe shit, that's also hoe shit. Like, if I'm wrong, fellas, tell me I'm wrong.
I just was trying to figure it out.
I agree so far.
I don't wear inappropriate attire. So like when y'all say, yeah, you should have changed, I'm like,
inappropriate means, listen, so you guys try to, not you personally, but I'm not going to say you're guilty of this, but there are a lot of women who come on this panel and intentionally misuse words when they know what we mean. And then they have the most extreme examples that they get hyperbolic with the words. When a man says what you are wearing is inappropriate, it means it is inappropriate for who you are to him. Like, I guess we got to start saying the quiet part out loud since it's not understood. The inappropriate, it means, hey, you going out with your titties out like that is inappropriate to who you are to me. As a man, that is not how I want my woman to present herself to the world, so it is inappropriate. It is something that is taking away from your respect for me and how you view me, your perception of me in public. A guy, if say we were married and we went out the house and you had your titties and ass out, niggas who don't know me are gonna think that 1, you going, or 2, when you tell them you got a man, they gonna think you don't respect me because your titties and ass are out. Like, I understand sometimes women want to feel good when they leave, like they just want to look good. And it's sad that so many of y'all have to be naked to look good, but hey, that's a whole separate conversation. But y'all use that feeling like your armor. It's like body armor for you. Like where you go out, look good, feel good. And it's not even for other men. For good women, it's only like that for the hoes. But for good women, they want to go out and feel and look good too. But there's a way you can do that and be classy. And what's sad is so many of y'all are ignorant to how you can look good and still be covered and be classy. Because again, a majority of women aren't ladies; they just are women.
Anybody else? Let's get to these super chats.
You want me to read them, Gerald? You got some feedback.
Yeah, you go ahead and read it.
The DJ Freshmaker, her past behavior disqualify her from monogamy. A man with status and a clean rep is less likely to take that on, expecting lady treatment is illogical. The next one. Richard Brown, 9763 with the $2 super chat. There is no woman that is above getting cheated on. That's Beyonce. L. Nick, something to think about. $5. Mine. So if a woman waits 2 years to complain about a guy cheating, is it still not valid? He knew it was wrong. He just did it until he had to stop. Damn, Mr. Good Couch gone.
All right, that's it. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Y'all sure y'all enjoy y'all Sunday. Hit the like button on your way out. And y'all enjoy the rest of y'all evening.